about myself for the newcomers that have joined in today. Yeah. So I'm Kanchan Megnani, a data scientist and an educator. I have total 9.5 years of experience in business intelligence, data science, machine learning. Yeah. So over my past 3 years, I've got good opportunities to work in different domains, including food and beverages, logistic, manufacturing, and many more. Yeah. So let me, just share my screen. And today I'm going to talk about requirement analysis. And then maybe, as I said, let's have this session, two-way communication, where even if, most of y'all or maybe, would already work in some company, or they would, even start working. Okay. So either way, you might know like some things. Maybe you're applying in some project or you've studied in your school. Yeah. So let's deep dive into requirement analysis. Yeah. So what do you understand about requirement analysis? Anyone from the group?
Ma'am, may I try?
Yes.
So requirement analysis is all about me. Let's say, let's take an example of a client named X. Okay, now X has certain requirements that he wants the UI UX design to be made in this way. He wants, within this period of time, he wants out certain amount of output, or maybe he wants, within, let's say, whatever they have given a certain amount of work, and they would like to know whether by what time the work will be completed, or whatever things that we need to communicate to the DevOps team, so that to understand what back end work that we need to do. So this is my knowledge about requirement analysis. Yeah.
Good, Kinjal. So, let's take a step back. Okay. So client is coming up with some requirement. Why is he coming with a requirement? Maybe this whatever he's trying to do on his, day-to-day life, like, or maybe what he's trying to do on day-to-day basis, the job that he's trying to do is currently not possible, or maybe whatever solution there is, it's not optimal, or maybe there are not many features which eases his work. Yeah. So there comes a requirement where he'll talk about, this is what I can't do currently, I would want this to be developed. Okay. So it will start with it starts with requirement. Okay. So don't worry, this PPT would be shared with y'all. So let's discuss it deeply. So what is requirement? As Kinjal rightly said, the client might come up asking about whether what he would want to have, whether it's a website, whether it's UX design, or whether it's certain app, or whether it's a dashboard. Yeah. So he's trying to solve his current problem, and then he's trying to achieve his objective. So in a present situation, those are not possible. So there's no solution which eases his work. So he would come up with a requirement. So the software requirements are description of what features he would want, what functionalities he want, and how the target system should look like, how the final system should look like. Yeah. Now, whenever you talk to the client, he might, there could be, hello? Any comment from anyone? Okay, so there's background noise. Yeah, thanks. So whenever you talk with the client, and client will come up with his requirement, there might be a case where he's he knows everything. Okay, whatever he wants. So every requirement is very obvious. Okay, sometimes he might not know, because maybe if you start developing at the back end, you start showing him the first sprint or the first draft. Then he might also say, can we also maybe put this button here, which would traverse from maybe the home screen to the product screen. Yeah. So some things might not be obvious at the first meet. It can be hidden. It will come as you have a recurring meeting with client. So some are known, some are not known. Okay. Now, whenever you talk about requirements, we try to classify them broadly into three types. One is functional requirement, non-functional, and third one is domain requirements. So whenever we talk functional requirement, okay, as the name suggests, functional, what all functionality should the system or the software possess to solve your problem or to achieve your objective? What all things, so it's all about, what you can see, how the process should be like, how should the data flow, what all screens you need, what all different charts you need, what should there be a login screen, should there be a home screen, should there be a list of products? So what all, the client is willing to see, that would come under functional requirement. So let's read up this. Functional requirement describe what the software should do. Finally, what's the objective of the system? They outline the specific functions, features, and interaction. So what all functionality should be able to do? So for example, if I am, making a e-commerce website, so my e-commerce website should have a login screen. Should all the products should be displayed with all prices. The user should be able to move the product to the cart. He should be able to do the payment. So these are all the functions that the system should allow. Okay, features meaning how should the system behave, like what all features they should be able to like move the product to the cart, or maybe create a wish list, or maybe when they put something in cart, they should also be allowed to do some other shopping. So these are different features. And interaction, how the page should go one after another. Okay, how should the interaction, so when a user clicks on some button, where should he be directed? Yeah, so that all comes under functional requirements. So these requirements detail the expected behavior of the system from the functional perspective. So example could be user authentication, like a login screen. How should the data be processed? What all reports should it generate? And any specific action or items that software needs to perform. So everything comes under functional requirement, whatever the user or the client wishes to see, okay, in the system or the software. Any doubts for functional requirement? Or maybe if you want to add something. All right. Let's move on to the second,
Hello.
which is on, yes.
Yeah, ma'am. Well, this is Nilesh here. I just want to know that these requirement types are used on like certain websites, right? Like Amazon's and Flipkart.
Uh-huh. So
Is
no,
it?
it would be used any kind of project that you work on. Okay, so the example that I gave, Nilesh, was like a e-commerce website, but it could be any software that you're trying to develop, or any analysis that you're trying to develop. Yeah. So for example, I might, want to give you different example where I am trying to maybe I have my customer base, and I am trying to like cluster my customers based on their behaving pattern. Okay, so this is the requirement from the client. Yeah. So what the client would say, I have maybe 10,000 customers, but I don't know how best I can utilize my budget on marketing campaigns. Can you at least try to cluster these customers based on different attributes? So this is the requirement that the customer is having. So what would you do? You might want to build an app where the client would log in. He would select, what all attributes the customer would want, and then with respect to the attributes, it forms the different clusters. Yeah, so not necessarily only e-commerce, but any kind of project that you're working. Yeah, is that clear?
Yeah, got it. All right, thank you.
Great. Any other doubt, anyone?
Ma'am, just a request. Once you complete the slide, can you please just summarize in Hindi? Just summarize. Just a request.
Sure.
Thank you, ma'am.
My Hindi might not be that great, but I'll try. Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
Good that you bought it like at the beginning. Yeah. So functional ये वाला first है requirement. Requirement मतलब customer को क्या चाहिए आप, like कौन सा software चाहिए, कौन सा system चाहिए, so that जो अभी अभी जो भी वो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर रहे हैं वो नहीं हो रहा है. ओके, सो दैट इज रिक्वायरमेंट. 3 तरह के रिक्वायरमेंट है. एक होता है फंक्शनल, मतलब जो हमें जो दिखेगा, कैसे स्क्रीन बनने वाली है, या कौन कौन से रिपोर्ट्स जनरेट करना चाहिए. अगर ये बटन पे क्लिक किया जाए तो कौन सी स्क्रीन मूव होनी चाहिए. या अगर हम एक एनालिसिस प्रोजेक्ट देखेंगे, तो अगर हमें कस्टमर को ग्रुप में डिवाइड करना है, तो हम कौन से बेस्ट तरीके से डिवाइड कर पाए. तो हमें जो भी दिख रहा है या कौन से फीचर्स चाहिए सॉफ्टवेयर में, वो सारे फंक्शनल रिक्वायरमेंट में आएंगे. ओके, दूसरा है नॉन फंक्शनल. नाउ let's talk first in English. So non-functional would be client might not tell you everything, okay, but as a analyst or software development or a data scientist, you should be following certain rules, or maybe assuring the quality what you're developing. Meaning, whatever I'm developing should be available all the time. The response time should be very low, or there should be a proper security or the authentication. So whatever like standards you want to adhere, that will come under non-functional. Okay, so non-functional requirement, also known as quality attributes. So these might not be communicated. You have to follow them for sure. Okay, specify the qualities and characteristics that the software must exhibit. So it has performance, security, usability, scalability. So what is scalability? Today, if I'm having only 2 databases, I should generate a code that is scalable. So tomorrow, even if I have 4 or 5 databases, my code should be able to add more databases. Yeah. So with changing time, the code should be scalable. And maintainability, meaning the code or maybe the software should be easier to maintain. Non-functional requirement ensure that the software not only works correctly but also meets certain standards of performance and usability. What are the examples we just talked about? Response time, data encryption. If you're storing users' passwords, better to have a very secure place where you are, encrypting the data and then storing it. Yeah. User interface responses, how quick the results should be shown. And finally, the system availability. Okay, so that's non-functional requirement. Non-functional requirement, वो सारे requirement है जो हमें क्वालिटी मेंटेन करने के लिए होगा. ओके, क्लाइंट आपको नहीं बताएगा कि सिस्टम हमेशा अवेलेबल होना चाहिए. ये आपको खुद समझना होगा. सिस्टम हमेशा अवेलेबल होना चाहिए, या अगर हमारे लॉगिन स्क्रीन है तो वो प्रॉपरली सिक्योर्ड होना चाहिए. मतलब अगर पासवर्ड रॉन्ग है तो नो वन शुड गेट, किसी को एक्सेस नहीं मिले सिस्टम में. या जो भी आप डेवलप कर रहे हैं, अगर बिग डेटा है या ज्यादा डेटा है बैकएंड में, तो आपको कुछ उसको कस्टमाइज करना है या तो लोड कम करना है, ताकि जो रिस्पॉन्स टाइम है, जो रिजल्ट दिखे, वो कम समय में दिखे. सो ये सारे आपको क्लाइंट नहीं बताएगा, ये आपको खुद समझना है एक सॉफ्टवेयर या सिस्टम डेवलपमेंट के समय. ठीक है, तो ये सारी नॉन फंक्शनल है. ये क्लाइंट नहीं बताएगा, ये आपको फॉलो करनी होगी. Any doubt in non-functional requirement? Anyone?
No, ma'am.
No.
Yeah, is it clear? Great.
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
No.
Now, domain requirement. Can anyone, think what could be domain requirement? If I'm not moving to the next slide. Yeah. So, any idea what would be the domain requirement?
Domain in the industry, maybe it's in manufacturing, maybe it's an FMCG. So accordingly, client will give their requirements in maybe in other things. That's my general
Very good.
idea.
Yeah. Correct, Shashank. Yeah. So domain would be different domains पे आप काम करेंगे. Like, there would be finance domain, FMCG, manufacturing, e-commerce, supply chain, everything, right? So whatever project you are working, you should know basic rules of that particular domain. Okay, so first of all, whenever you are trying to build, ensure that whatever domain you're working on, you have better understanding. Otherwise, whatever you make, if that is not as per their domain requirement, then it's not useful, right? then it doesn't align with the objective of the customer or the client or the company. Yeah. सो डोमेन रिक्वायरमेंट वो वाले होंगे जहां पर आप कोई भी डोमेन पे जो काम कर रहे हैं, जैसे कि फाइनेंस है, हेल्थ केयर है, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग है, वो डोमेन पे आपको थोड़ी सी अंडरस्टैंडिंग होनी चाहिए. ओके, सो दैट इज डोमेन रिक्वायरमेंट. ओके, एनी डाउट एनीवन?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so 3 types of requirement, just summarizing them up. Functional, what you can see, what how the system should behave, what all features should that the system should have. Non-functional, what quality aspects that you should maintain. And finally, domain requirements, whatever domain you are working, please have a better understanding of that domain. Okay. Okay, now you got what is requirement, what are types of requirement. Now we come to our topic. If there are requirements, it's very important that we have a proper management system to manage those requirements. Yeah. So let's read this up and then we can elaborate. Requirement management process includes planning, monitoring, analyzing, communicating, and managing of the requirements. If the requirements are not managed well, the end product will get adversely affected. The purpose of requirement management is to ensure that business stakeholders and solution requirements and designs are aligned with one another. So typically it begins with the representation of business needs as a requirement. It continues through the development of the solution, and it ends whenever the project or the solution is complete, is made. So imagine you have a meeting with the client. Okay, maybe you are initiating a meeting with the client. Now there might be a case where multiple stakeholders are coming together to give a requirement. They may have different perspective, and they might have lot of requirements, right? So you might want to manage them well. You might want to take a note of what all things they are saying, right? Because it shouldn't be that you're missing on something. Yeah, so you'll note down every requirement, and then you will have a process in place where you would manage all the requirements that are set by the clients. Okay, now some things you might want to go back to the development team if you are not going to develop. Okay, if you are going to manage the project or lead the project, there might be some things that your team might be responsible to make. So you will have those all requirements communicated to the development team. Yeah. So how does this requirement management start? It starts with a meeting with the client where he would specify what is the requirement. Then it continues throughout the development of the solution, and then finally whenever it is ready, you present it. So it starts with the requirement, it continues through the development process, and it ends whenever the final solution or the result is done. Yeah. Just give me a minute, yeah. So रिक्वायरमेंट मैनेजमेंट, अभी हमने देखा कि रिक्वायरमेंट्स क्या है और उनके टाइप्स क्या है. अभी एक ही रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं रहेगी, मल्टीपल रिक्वायरमेंट्स होंगे. आप एक क्लाइंट से मीट करते हो तब आपको वो बताते हैं कि मुझे ये 10 चीजें चाहिए, या मे बी 20 चीजें चाहिए, ये सारी फीचर्स होने चाहिए, ये सारी फंक्शनैलिटीज होनी चाहिए मेरे रिक्वायरमेंट, ये सॉफ्टवेयर या ये सिस्टम में. तो आप ये सारा कैसे मैनेज करेंगे, और ये मैनेज करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. अगर आप ठीक से मैनेज नहीं करोगे, आप एंड में एक सोल्यूशन लेके जाओगे क्लाइंट के पास, वो बोलेगा ये मैंने नहीं बताया था, ऐसे नहीं बताया था. तो ये प्रॉपर मैनेजमेंट ये रिक्वायरमेंट्स का बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, बिकॉज फाइनली आपको किसको प्रेजेंट करना है? क्लाइंट को प्रेजेंट करना है. अगर वो उसके ऑब्जेक्टिव पे मीट नहीं कर पा रहा है, तो आप जो भी डेवलप कर रहे हैं वो वेस्ट हो जाएगा. ओके, तो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि आप ये रिक्वायरमेंट्स को अच्छे से मैनेज करें. रिक्वायरमेंट मैनेजमेंट स्टार्ट होता है कि आप एक क्लाइंट से मीट करो, सारे रिक्वायरमेंट्स लो, उसका नोट करो, बाद में आप वो डेवलप करो और एंड कब होगा, जब वो सोल्यूशन या पूरा प्रोजेक्ट खत्म हो जाएगा, तो यहाँ पर आपका रिक्वायरमेंट मैनेजमेंट खत्म होगा। तो रिक्वायरमेंट मैनेजमेंट भी पूरे लाइफ साइकिल स्टेप्स लेगा। ओके, इट्स नॉट that you'll just start with it and end somewhere. It's throughout your project life cycle. Yeah, any doubt?
No.
No, ma'am.
Great. Now, okay, let me give you all a chance to read one point and maybe let's discuss this, yeah, properly. So why is it important? Okay, first of all, clear understanding. Yeah, maybe just give me a moment. Let me see what activity it could be. I think stages you can start. Yeah, I can take this up and then maybe we start with the stages with one of you. Yeah. So why this is important? Because first one, clear understanding. Whatever the client is saying, you should have a clear understanding of what he wants. It shouldn't be that client has asked maybe 4 and I do know 2 of them. If you don't know, please go back and ask the client what exactly he is trying to do. Yeah, so there should be a very clear understanding of the requirements. If you don't have a clear understanding, you would not be able to develop the final solution that would meet his objective. Yeah, so properly, if you manage your requirements properly, you would have a whatever you're trying to build, it would be better, and this will also reduce misunderstanding and miscommunication during development. So please, requirement management is important to have a clear understanding. It's also important to manage your requirement because you will help to find, you would do the you will have a project scope in place. So today, okay, he's saying include maybe 2 data sets. Yeah, maybe after a month he would say, can you also include one more data set? You might want to check if that is feasible. Yeah, so when you manage your requirements properly, you would go back saying, okay, this is what we agreed to last month, and we can still consider, but nothing should get affected. Let me do a feasibility test. Yeah, so it will also help to finalize the scope of the project. So effective requirement management helps define the project scope, what all things should be covered and what all things should not be covered. Okay, so project scope has 2 aspects, has 2 things. Okay, both the things should be mentioned. What all things should be covered and what all we are not going to cover. Yeah, so this would prevent scope creep where additional features are added without proper consideration. If you don't manage it properly, after 2 or 3 months, the client might say, okay, please, can you do this? Can you do that? So you might want to go back and say, okay, this is what we agreed, and these are the things that I'm currently working on. Yeah. So it's very important to define a project scope. Third one, resource allocation. Whenever you have requirements and you're managing it well, you know what all resources or what all expertise you would need. You are, trying to develop a data science project or an analysis project or maybe building a dashboard. So you know that, you would need a resource who is very good in visualization or who knows Power BI. Yeah, or who knows Excel. So you know what project you have to work and how you have to manage your resources very well. Okay, so well-managed requirements assist in resource allocation as team focuses on building features that provide the most value to the stakeholders, avoiding waste efforts or necessary functionalities. Also, whenever you work on a project, there might be multiple teams which would get involved. One would be development team, one would be testing team, one would be like business analyst, or any like multiple teams. So if you manage your requirements properly, when maybe feature A, B, C would be developed, and the testing team should be informed so that they are ready with the test cases to test the system. Yeah. So proper requirement management would also ensure that you have proper resource allocation in place. Okay. Now, let me just give a brief in Hindi. रिक्वायरमेंट मैनेजमेंट क्यों इम्पोर्टेंट है? पहले तो है कि हमें क्लियर अंडरस्टैंडिंग होनी चाहिए कि हमारा कस्टमर क्या कौन सा सिस्टम डेवलप करना चाहता है. अगर हमें वो नहीं पता रहेगा तो हमें वापस पूछना है कि क्या डेवलप करें. अगर हमने प्रॉपरली मैनेज नहीं किया रिक्वायरमेंट्स तो बहुत सारे मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग होंगे या फिर कुछ और ही बन जाएगा. ओके. और फाइनली वो सॉफ्टवेयर या सिस्टम कस्टमर नहीं लेगा. सेकंड है प्रोजेक्ट स्कोप. प्रॉपर हमें पता चलेगा कि क्या क्या चीजें हमें डेवलप करनी है, क्या क्या चीजें हमें डेवलप नहीं करनी है, अगर हम प्रॉपरली रिक्वायरमेंट मैनेज करेंगे. और लाइक क्लाइंट को भी पता है कि ये 10 चीजें ही डेवलप होने वाली है. कल को अगर क्लाइंट आता है कि मुझे ये 5 और फंक्शनैलिटीज चाहिए, तो आप बोल सकते हैं कि ये हमने अग्री नहीं किया था पहले मीटिंग पे. तो एक प्रॉपर प्रोजेक्ट स्कोप डिफाइन होगा अगर आप रिक्वायरमेंट मैनेज अच्छे से करेंगे. थर्ड है कि जो आपके रिसोर्सेज है या जो एक्सपर्टीज आपको लगने वाले हैं सिस्टम डेवलप करने के लिए, वो आपको पता चलते हैं रिक्वायरमेंट मैनेजमेंट अगर आप अच्छे से करेंगे. तो आपको अगर पावर बीआई रिसोर्स चाहिए या कोई जावा डेवलपर चाहिए या पाइथन डेवलपर चाहिए, तो आपको ये पता रहेगा पहले ही, और आप वो टीम को रेडी कर लोगे या तो फिर आप उनको इंटीमेट करोगे कि अभी ये फंक्शनैलिटी आएगी, आप ये डेवलप करके देना. सो दैट इज रिसोर्स अलोकेशन. नेक्स्ट वन, risk mitigation. Any doubt? Okay, let me just go back. Any doubt? Okay, why like all the
Ma'am,
3 points?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
ma'am, I have one doubt.
Yes.
Ma'am, suppose in real world situation, you about the project scope, suppose a client asks us to include many data sets, and if we say no, we cannot add at this time, then that will not hamper our ongoing contract with that client.
Mm-hmm. See, there should be mutual consensus, Pritish. Now, so you might want to say, okay, this why is it not feasible right now? Maybe we could do it in next sprint, because the projects would be developed in sprints, right? You'll have sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3, right? In multiple things. So when you're trying to develop something and in between you're already on completion. Yeah. Suppose you're already on completion and you the client says, please include 5 data sets, which might be little difficult because there might be multiple reasons. Or if it is easy, please do it. Yeah. It's okay, right? Because at the end, the customer is going to use that. Yeah. If it is a very high priority request, you might want to do it. Having everything aligned, okay, like the budget, because the budget is decided on what functionalities that you would be making, including or not including, what all resources you would be including. If that is easy and the client is ready to spend with more additional resources, and if the client says, I am okay to wait for maybe 15 days more, but I can't live without this functionalities, then please go ahead and do it. Yeah.
Okay.
So there should be mutual consensus of both the parties.
Okay.
Okay. So what you will do, you will go back and then you'll write in project scope, maybe on date this 5 additional functionalities were requested, and initially whatever the timelines were there, those would get extended. Okay. And then the reason why. Because tomorrow if your heads ask you that why initially you said the team would be available after 1 month, and now you're saying they would be available after 2 months. I already had a different project planned for them. Then you might want to say, okay, this is what we got at last moment, and this is also mentioned in project scope, that because of all these changes, we are trying to extend our timelines with some additional resources, additional functionalities. Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
Great. Any other doubt, anyone?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, how would we know that we need to give the allocation? I mean, how we will know that to get all the resources? that who is good in Python, or as you said that you need to find your own resource. And how can we do that if we have a project scope and as well as a clear understanding?
Yeah, so Nilesh, this will come like, when you lead a project where, you whenever you talk to a client, whatever he's trying to develop, he would have his current like tools, right? So suppose the client is using SAP or he's using some business intelligence tool. So he might want to integrate your software in his platform. So you would already know what kind of tool he is looking at, okay, what kind of architecture your client has. So depending upon what you're trying to develop, you might get an understanding of what tools and technologies would be needed, and then you would start checking who from your team or who from your organization would be working on this project. So this will come with experience. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Can I ask one more doubt?
Yes.
Ma'am, suppose we are doing a project, and in that case, suppose some data sets are not available in our database, then do companies allow to borrow data from other sources like third-party sources in real
Yeah,
world?
absolutely. So you need to have the proper licenses, and whatever licenses you have, even the third party should agree that you can store their data in your premises. Okay, so both ways.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
there are very like market data available, which would be helpful to check what external trends are going and what internal things we are doing. Yeah. So that's absolutely very important to integrate external data into your premises. But you should
Okay.
have proper licenses and possibility to store their data set in your environment. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Great. Any other doubt?
Hello.
Oh, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, Neelu.
Hello.
Yes, Neelu.
Ma'am, can you help? Ma'am, if we want to do freelancing, then
Freelancing,
hello.
then hello. So Neelu, like,
please.
yeah. So you're saying if I'm trying to do freelancing, so whenever you meet the client, please have a meeting saying, tell me clearly what you're trying to achieve. Put down your notes together, and also share an email saying that these are the things that I've understood. Yeah. Are you also aligned to it? So that's the first thing. You also have a project scope in place. So, like if you're trying to build a like dashboard for someone, okay. So project scope should be there. Okay, how many tabs or how many reports you're going to build. Okay, what all data you would be considering. So you'll make a document which says this is the project scope. Then resource allocation. If you're doing freelancing, you are the resources, right? You will be like taking care of the development, or maybe you have some of your friends who would be helping you out. So that would be part of resource allocation. Yeah.
Right.
Does that answer your
And
question?
lots of companies are hello. Ma'am,
Yes.
lots of companies are hiring already work from home. Tech companies almost like recently Wipro company and Vishwa, all that hiring in a work from home. That we, if we can try to do, it is okay or not in a fresher.
Neelu, I think this is little off topic. So can we have this discussion after the class? Yeah. I will be happy to answer you. Yeah. But I think this is off the topic what we are trying to discuss. Okay. Requirement analysis. Maybe we can have this discussion in the break or end of the class. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Great. Any other doubt, anyone for these 3 points?
Kanchan, ma'am.
Yes.
I hand out. As you say, we have to get data from another resources. So we have to licenses there. So how to get their home licenses to another getting?
You directly call them up. Okay, so whatever data sets you are looking for that has the contact page or like a customer service, You call them up, you say you are looking for some licenses, and they would be more than happy because you would be their customers. Yeah. Someone is trying to like fidget with the screen. Maybe we can do this in the break. Yeah, if you're trying to explore how Zoom works. Yeah, thanks.
Hi, ma'am.
Samsung.
Hello.
Yeah. Yes.
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, sure.
Ma'am, my question is, for an example, if you are working on a project on Excel, right? So, like, and we need to develop something. So these are the basic steps, right? Where we need to understanding the scope and then the resource allocation. Excel. Is it right? So we can make a project through it if the client has required some data through Excel sheets. Is it right or?
Can you repeat, please? Maybe
No,
I did not get it completely.
my question was like if client requires some information, okay, from Excel sheets. So these are the points like understanding and the project scope, right? So these are the
Yeah.
basic point for any tool in Excel.
Yeah, any project, okay, small project, big project, any small request. So that could be like considered as a quick project or a long-term project. Yeah.
These are the basic things to be understand, right? To be understood.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Got it, ma'am.
Okay, let's move ahead. Risk mitigation. If you manage your requirements very well, if there could be some risk that would be coming, so you are already having a backup plan. So through analysis and validating requirements, you can identify what all challenges or what all risk that you would get while developing the project, and then you can start preventing. Okay, now risk could be anything. There might be no resources, or maybe shortage of resources, so you know that risk. Maybe after feature A, B, C, there is a requirement of high-end like uh, like developer, but we don't have it. So you might want to start searching before, right? Before maybe at the beginning of the project. Yeah. So understanding what all risks are very important. Okay, or maybe system is down for some week in the last month of in the last week of October. So you might know, okay, what all things you might want to take it offline. Okay, so even if the system is not available, you try to make documentation, or you might want to build something or do some research. So understanding risk is very important. That would be that would come when you manage your requirements very carefully. Yeah. Quality assurance. If you manage your requirements properly, you are working towards the pointers or towards the features that the client has asked you to do. Okay, so we will also have a quality assurance when you manage your requirements properly. Okay, you will ensure that the final product meets the expectation. And then change control. Okay, now what is change control? Now, okay, this we already discussed. When you're developing something, you have a requirement management in place. Client asks you to maybe add one more feature. So you would see that feature, whether is it okay to include now, how does it affect other things. So there should be a process in place where you would do a feasibility check whether whatever change the client is asking, is it okay to include in this sprint, or maybe should we wait. Okay, so what all things would be affected, or what all steps would be affected, what all systems would be affected after doing this change. So if there are a lot of changes, you might want to take it in next sprint. But if it is a easy fix, then you could do it. Okay, so this would only happen when the requirements are managed properly. Okay, so change control.
Ma'am, can you please repeat quality assurance for once as well?
Sure. I will also repeat risk mitigation. So risk mitigation would be, identifying any risk prior to, the actual risk happening. So, for example, I am developing 5 features and I would need to have a testing team in place. Yeah, but I do not have anyone currently. So what I'll do, I'll start my project work where the developers are developing feature A, B, C, D, E. I would also start hiring or looking for the testing team. Yeah, so that's a resource risk. Or there could be some expertise, very high end technology, a resource
Extra.
that is needed, yeah, which we do not have currently. So that's a risk that, after we reach maybe 15 days, we do not have someone who would be taking care of this. So might as well start looking at this now. Or some risk could be, the data is exceeding the limit. Okay, I'm not having enough storage. Might as well start, getting more storage from the cloud. Okay, so that is a risk. I have currently maybe, some storage that might get over in maybe a week's time. So can we also have a plan that we start getting new storages or new cloud environments before? Okay, so you won't have let it happen like the resources are over, the storage is over. Yeah, you're trying to make a plan and you're trying to get ready, you're trying to mitigate the risk. This would happen only when you are managing your requirements properly. Yeah, so I hope this is clear now. Yes, that's the risk mitigation. Great. Now, quality assurance. Whenever you are managing your requirements properly, you would also ensure quality. Okay, this is very important. As I said, like non-functional requirements won't be communicated. You have to make sure that you are adhering to certain standards. Like the response time is very quick, is very less. So for example, you are developing a dashboard and when a user clicks to maybe, some filters and then he says go, the dashboard takes 15 minutes to show the result. Do you think the user or the client would use that dashboard? No. Okay, you might want to make it faster. You might want to have some optimization in place where you say within maybe 5 seconds, my results are like shown up. And whatever filters the client would choose, I would, give the yeah. So Abhishek says this is basically process followed by every company when we do any project. Yes, correct, Abhishek. So this is what we would take care of while we develop any software or any project. Yeah. So quality assurance, whether we are maintaining the secureness of the data set or the response time. Yeah. So that's the quality assurance. For these 3 points in Hindi, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल रिस्क मिटिगेशन. अगर हमें पता है कि कोई रिस्क आने वाला है प्रोजेक्ट में, तो हम पहले ही से थोड़ी सी तैयारी करेंगे. अगर हमें पता है कि हमें कोई एक पाइथन रिसोर्स लगने वाला है फाइनल मॉड्यूल डेवलप करने के लिए, बट अगर हमारे पास पाइथन रिसोर्स नहीं है तो हम पहले से ही चेक करेंगे कि कौन हमारा ये डेवलप करेगा, हम उसे हायर करेंगे. सो दैट इज रिस्क मिटिगेशन. क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस, क्वालिटी मेंटेन करनी है. अगर हम हमारे रिक्वायरमेंट्स प्रॉपर्ली मैनेज कर रहे हैं तो हमें क्वालिटीज भी पता है. ये हमें बताई नहीं जाएगी कि सिस्टम फास्ट होना चाहिए या सिस्टम हमेशा अवेलेबल होना चाहिए. तो अगर हम रिक्वायरमेंट्स प्रॉपर्ली मैनेज कर रहे हैं तो हम रिक्वायरमेंट्स भी अश्योर करने वाले हैं. एंड थर्ड है चेंज कंट्रोल. अगर हम डेवलप कर रहे हैं एक प्रोजेक्ट और क्लाइंट 15 दिनों के बाद बोल रहा है कि आप ये 3 फंक्शनैलिटीज और इंक्लूड कर दो प्रोजेक्ट में, तो हम पहले एक प्रोसेस डिफाइन करेंगे कि अगर हमारे पास बीच में कोई भी न्यू रिक्वायरमेंट या न्यू फंक्शनैलिटीज ऐड हो रही है, पहले हम चेक करेंगे कि ये 3 फीचर्स ऐड करने में क्या क्या सिस्टम अफेक्ट हो रहे हैं, कौन कौन से रिसोर्सेस बिजी हो जाएंगे और हमारा प्रोजेक्ट और कितना टाइम लगेगा। तो ये हम प्रोसेस पहले डिफाइन करेंगे ताकि अगर बीच में कोई भी न्यू चीजें आ रही हैं तो वो प्रॉपरली मैनेज हो। ओके, तो पहले से ही हम रिक्वायरमेंट्स प्रॉपरली मैनेज करेंगे, एक प्रोसेस डिफाइन करेंगे कि अगर कोई चेंज आएगा तो हम ये प्रोसेस फॉलो करेंगे और फिर देखेंगे कि अगर ये न्यू फंक्शनैलिटी या न्यू फीचर इजी है या हम इसे नेक्स्ट साइकिल में ले या नेक्स्ट स्प्रिंट में ले। ओके, सो होप आई एम ओके। Shashank has a question which is very good. He says, providing alternate solution for any requirement which we are unable to fulfill as per client's description can be part of change control. See, it depends now, Shashank, on this. So earlier, you
solution for any requirement which we are unable to fulfill as per clients can be the exact same question.
Yeah. Now the solution that you agreed on, first of all, we might want to have a reason why did it not make, yeah, why we were not able to fulfill that. Yeah, if you are having another solution which is which is equally good enough and is meeting all the expectation, but you might also want to say this solution would be maybe quicker or maybe would take lot of time or would need additional resources or additional storage. So this could be part of change control, which would be change of the project plan. Yeah, so or it couldn't be, because if you're using just a very similar technology, just a different set of code or different set of libraries, then might not be. Okay, but if there is large change or maybe major changes in your plan, then it has to be part of change control. Okay.
Hello.
Any other doubt, anyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Nilesh.
Ma'am, can you give some more examples for quality assurance, as in according to your experience? It would be really helpful.
Yeah, so quality assurance is basically, when
Ma'am, also examples of risk mitigations, please.
Sure, I will try, or maybe if others have some examples from their.
Ma'am, just one question, please. I'm sorry for interruption.
Sure.
Ma'am, suppose in the middle of any project, if we find or if the client gets any risk, so will the client be, mutually understanding us, or will he give us some time, like, or
Yeah, so see, project would be like a place where you partner with the client, right? So when you have a proper reason why is this not happening, you might want to communicate well, and then he should be happily taking that up. Yeah, but it should be realistic. It shouldn't be that we agreed on one thing and then we're not doing because maybe the developers or like they were not working or we did not plan it better. So you should have proper technical justification why is this not happening. Okay.
yes, ma'am.
Great. Now examples of risk mitigation. So risk could be anything like I would give like my recent example. We are trying to build up like have everything into a cloud-based platform, okay, which is Azure. Okay, now we already got licenses, but okay, we have not integrated with our internal CRMs. Yeah. So whenever I try to say that I'm going to develop a project, a data science project, which would be running on Azure. Okay, back I have a risk. What risk is that? My data set is not connected. Yeah. So what risk I would put? The integration of the internal data set is not connected with this new tool, which is a cloud-based one. Okay. So that's a risk that I want to highlight at the beginning. So what I will do is I will start like requesting the integration team to get all my data integrated with this new tool. Okay, so that could be one of the risks. There could be a resource risk that I said right now. Your project requires some expertise in maybe NLP or maybe in AI. You currently do not have that resource. So that's a risk. After completing maybe 1 month of developing 5 functionalities, there is last part where you might want to develop a chatbot. But currently, no one in your team or no one knows that. So that's a risk of resources that you are highlighting at the beginning. Okay, so resource risk. There might be some like system or maybe risk. Maybe when you're trying to commit on the timelines, you are not taking the details properly of how much time would it take to maybe develop this current features. So that is a risk, okay, that the project might get extended to maybe more 15 days. So that's a risk that you are highlighting. So whenever you're trying to manage a project or maybe requirements very well, you understand your risk and you try to come up with a plan which would help you to avoid that risk coming further. Okay, so these are some examples of risk mitigation. Now, quality assurance. Whenever you manage your requirements properly, you know that this functionality should also have a secure place. Password should be saved in a secured position places. No unauthorized user should be able to access it. If that's a financial data, only like salaries of the team should be visible to the managers. So that's also quality, authentication, and authorization. Or the response time of your system or of your dashboard should be very less. So it should be very user friendly. I don't want the user to take 5 minutes to come to a conclusion or to do his task. It should be pretty quick. He shouldn't try to click at 10 places to get the result. Can it be done in 2 simple clicks? So that is quality of your software or quality of your project. Okay, I hope you are getting more examples of risk and quality now. Yes, Kinjal, you have to say something, add
Ma-
something, or
Ma'am, can I ask something regarding
yes,
quality
sure.
assurance? Ma'am,
Yes.
generally, SBI Bank uses Infosys software to manage the client customer data. Many times they say the software is not working or not responding properly. Then can we say that is a failure in quality assurance of
Yes.
Infosys?
Yes, because the system is not available, or maybe this is kind of quality or non-functional requirement. Yeah, so that
Okay.
comes under quality where the quality is not as per the standards. See, it happens very rare when maybe Amazon is not working and you're not able to add something to the cart. Yeah, or the WhatsApp. Yeah,
Okay.
or maybe any like software that you use on day-to-day life. Yeah, so
Yeah.
if it is not responding or not available all the time, you can certainly say it's not as per the quality.
Okay.
Yeah,
So where they are not mitigating this problem,
Pritesh, maybe I do not have the details, so I might not be the right person. Yeah, great. Kinjal, you need to add something.
Not add. I have a certain question in mind. So it
Yes.
could be it could sound a little off topic, but still it's a question relevant to this. So when it comes to requirement analysis, whichever point you mentioned, I understand these should be the attributes of any require. I mean, whenever we are doing a requirement analysis. Now my question to you would be, I mean, how much of a technical know-how is required, because we have to interact as per the requirements of the client. We have to interact with the DevOps team or maybe the UI UX team accordingly. So that's my question, ma'am.
Correct. So, Kinjal, very good question. So, so there's a project manager who would not know about the technical stuff. There would be a team lead or, domain expertise or like what do you call SDE, okay, who knows very much about the technical one. So ideally, whenever you talk to a client, it's like both who would be there in a requirement analysis meeting. There would be project manager as well as the lead. So project manager or a business analyst and a technical lead, where whatever we are committing should also go through technical feasibility and technical checks, whether whatever we are committing, maybe we are able to develop whatever client is saying out of 10 requirements, we can just cater to 8. And why not 2? Because there could be some technical like limitations or system unavailability or any other kind. Okay, so they both should be there. You shouldn't, we shouldn't have it in silos. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes. So, but along with that, I need to ask you, I mean, as future people who would like to get into business analytics, I mean, how much updation do we require, especially when it comes to technicalities?
Not like, completely, but at least, basic to mid-level. Why? Because if you don't know certain things, you might want to check with your development team, who is, who would be responsible to develop. Yeah. So maybe, you're and it will come through experience. Yeah. So you meet a client as a part of business analytics, or, where you have very sound like understanding of different functionalities, and with number of projects that you would work, you might know, okay, this is possible, this is not possible. And where you have confusion, you might want to say that, you might want to check with the development team how this could be done, and maybe you come up with a plan. Yeah. So not necessary that, you should know completely. That wouldn't be possible anytime. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Sure. Thank you.
Any other doubt, anyone?
No, ma'am. No, from my side.
No, ma'am. No doubt.
Great. Let's talk about last 4 points. Okay, why requirement management is very important. It would also help in clear communication with client and also different team members in the project. Yeah. So clear communication with the stakeholders, development team, testers, and all other people who are part of your project. Yeah. So you need to manage your requirements properly. Traceability. Now, what is traceability? You might want to check, what all systems we are going to use, or if I change something, what all things would be affected. Yeah. So I should be able to trace my requirements to, different systems, and I should know, okay, if I change here, what all things would get affected, and I should be able to trace it back. Okay, if I get to know, okay, this was a wrong change that I did. So I did at 5 places. I might want to do it. I might want to erase from 5 places. Okay, so when you manage your requirements properly, you are able to trace back your checks or maybe your code properly to whatever places you have tried to maybe implement. Okay. Next one is customer satisfaction. If you manage your requirements properly, your stakeholders or client would be satisfied properly, because you're trying to develop everything, whatever it was mentioned. Yeah, so there would be a very high possibility that your customer would be satisfied, yeah, and would want to give you more projects. And then finally, efficient development. Whatever like requirements you have, if you're managing it properly, you are utilizing your resources properly or in an optimal way, where you have a proper plan. They are working on only the features, not on other things that are not mentioned in the plan. Yeah, so these are other 4 points. In Hindi, रिक्वायरमेंट्स मैनेज करना इम्पोर्टेंट है, क्योंकि हमें प्रॉपर कम्युनिकेट करना है किस किस के साथ, स्टेक होल्डर्स, क्लाइंट या जो भी लोग आपके डेवलपमेंट या प्रोजेक्ट टीम में है। नेक्स्ट, ट्रेसेबिलिटी। अगर आपने रिक्वायरमेंट्स अच्छे से मैनेज की है तो आपको पता है कि मैं अगर यहाँ पर एक चेंज करती हूँ तो और 5 जगह चेंज करनी है, और अगर आपको पता चलता है कि अगर वो रॉन्ग चेंज हुआ है तो आप पांचों जगहों से जाके डिलीट करेंगे। सो एक ट्रेस करना बहुत इजी हो जाएगा अगर आपने रिक्वायरमेंट्स अच्छे से मैनेज की है। कस्टमर सेटिस्फैक्शन, अगर आपने प्रॉपर रिक्वायरमेंट्स मैनेज कर रहे हैं तो आपका क्लाइंट भी आप लाइक वो सेटिस्फाई होगा और खुश होगा और आपको ज्यादा प्रोजेक्ट्स देगा। एंड फाइनली, डेवलपमेंट टीम भी वही काम करेगी जो मेंशन किया है आपने। तो प्रॉपर रिक्वायरमेंट्स है, प्रॉपर आपने फंक्शनल फीचर्स और फंक्शनैलिटीज लिखे हुए हैं तो वही वाली चीजें डेवलप करेंगे और बाकी टाइम वेस्ट नहीं करेंगे। ओके, सो 4 points here. Any doubt, anyone?
Ma'am, can I ask one doubt?
Yes.
I have doubt in point number 8, traceability. Uh, this ये जो traceability का है ये end client माने देख पाएगा, या ये हमारे लिए होता है जो डेवलप कर रहे हैं उनके लिए होता है, या
ये
जो
हमारे
end?
लिए होता है। जैसे देखिए, यहाँ पर बोला है कि हम डेवलपमेंट भी ट्रैक करें, ठीक है। हम चेक करें कि ये सारे जो है फीचर्स जो डेवलप किए हैं वो प्रॉपरली रिक्वायरमेंट से मैच करते हैं या नहीं। आपने अगर 5 फंक्शनैलिटी डेवलप कर लिए, आप चेक करोगे रिक्वायरमेंट्स, कस्टमर ने ये 5 पॉइंट्स बोले थे, ये पहला वाला है, ये दूसरा वाला है, ये तीसरा वाला है, ये चौथा वाला है, ये पांचवा वाला है। तो अब ये चेक करोगे ये डेवलप हुई है, ये टेस्ट हुई है और ये ऑल्सो डिलीवर हुई है। तो ये आपको ट्रेस करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है।
ओके, ठीक है, क्लियर।
Yeah, clear. Any other doubt, anyone?
हाँ मैम।
Yes, Nilesh.
मैम बेसिकली ट्रेसिबिलिटी का मतलब ये है कि द द फॉर्मूला विच वी हैव अप्लाइड ऑन फॉर डैशबोर्ड और जो भी प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीट करने करने के लिए वो हमें पता नहीं चाहिए, राइट? इफ सम सर्टेन थिंग्स आर गोइंग रॉन्ग, अगर
हाँ,
फिल्टर्स
फॉर्मूला पता रहनी चाहिए और आप अपने रिक्वायरमेंट्स, अगर वो फॉर्मूला है एग्रीगेट करना है कस्टमर लेवल पे, आप चेक करो जाके कौन सा लेवल मेंशन किया था रिक्वायरमेंट डॉक्यूमेंट में, कस्टमर लेवल पे था या ज्योग्राफी लेवल पे था। तो आप क्या करो, ट्रेस करो जो आपने डेवलप किया है वो रिक्वायरमेंट के साथ मैच हो रही है या नहीं। ओके,
गॉट इट।
ग्रेट।
और अगर बिजनेस एनालिस्ट का कोई स्टूडेंट है और वो वर्क कर रहा है एज अ बिजनेस एनालिस्ट, तो उसमें भी ये सारी चीजें होनी चाहिए मैडम?
जी, बिजनेस एनालिस्ट चेक करेगा कि प्रॉपर कम्युनिकेशन हो रहा या नहीं टीम में। ओके, मतलब अगर डेवलपमेंट टीम ने ABC बना लिया टेस्ट, तो टीम को पता चला या नहीं कि वो टेस्ट करना है या नहीं। ठीक है, बिजनेस एनालिस्ट का काम ही ये होगा कि जब डेवलप हो जाती है वो चेक करे कि ये सारे रिक्वायरमेंट में कैसे मेंशन किया और आउटपुट क्या है। ओके, और वो क्लाइंट के पास चेक करेगा कि फीडबैक लेगा कि हमने ये डेवलप किया है, आपको कैसा लगा और ये फंक्शनैलिटीज वर्क हो रही है या नहीं प्रॉपरली। एंड फाइनली जो डेवलपमेंट टीम है वो प्रॉपर डेवलप कर रही है नहीं सोल्यूशन। ठीक है।
तो मैडम मेरे पास मुझे एक स्टार्टिंग से एक क्वेश्चन था। डेवलपमेंट का जो ये डेटा साइंस का जो भी है, पाइथन है, सीक्वल है, जो भी फंक्शंस है हमारे, ये सारी चीजें तो डेवलपमेंट के लिए आएगा ना?
डेवलपमेंट के लिए और
लाइक डेवलपर
एनालिसिस
है
के लिए।
एक,
देखो अभी डेवलपमेंट टीम
तो
ने
मतलब
कुछ
अगर
एक
एक बिजनेस भी सेम चीज है।
Ma'am, I
सो
believe DevOps team के लिए तो I believe these languages may not be a requirement. Maybe Java, C++, or Ruby on Rails. Maybe those are the requirement, I believe.
see, I'm not talking about any programming language here. Okay,
Mhm.
here as a business analyst you should be at least well versed with some tools. Could be Excel, could be Python, where you would do quick analysis. क्लाइंट का रिक्वायरमेंट था कि लाइक ये सिस्टम ये रिपोर्ट डेवलप हो या कंट्री लेवल पे एग्रीगेट हो, तो तुम डेवलपर ने बना दिया, पर आप डायरेक्टली क्लाइंट को दे दोगे क्या? वैसा नहीं, आपको टेस्ट करना पड़ेगा कि ये जो बना हुआ है वो प्रॉपर है या नहीं। कैसे करोगे? क्विक चेक्स करोगे। क्विक चेक्स करने के लिए आपको कुछ तो टूल आना चाहिए, या डेवलपर, आप अगर एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हो कि डेवलपर खुद ही टेस्ट करेगा, तो अगर वो डेवलप भी करेगा टेस्ट भी करेगा तो हमेशा सब चीजें राइट होगी उसके हिसाब से। करेक्ट, टेस्टिंग टीम है, बट आपको भी चेक करना पड़ेगा कहीं पे कि जो डेवलप हुआ है वो प्रॉपर फंक्शनैलिटीज या फीचर्स है या नहीं। तो उसके लिए ये सब आना चाहिए।
तो
नीलू,
वर्किंग
आर यू?
नॉलेज होना
तो उसमें
चाहिए।
हाँ, वर्किंग नॉलेज,
मेन
करेक्ट।
कौन सी टूल्स?
आपका आपको क्या करना है नीलू, मतलब कौन से फील्ड में जाना है? दैट डिपेंड्स।
नहीं, मेरा बिजनेस एनालिस्ट है, स्टार्टिंग से ही है।
बिजनेस एनालिस्ट के लिए आपको एक्सेल, थोड़ा सा सीक्वल और एसक्यूएल, ओके, सीक्वल आना चाहिए, और थोड़ा सा विजुअलाइजेशन टूल लाइक पावर बीआई, जहां पर आप लाइक चेक करें, छोटा लाइक बिल्ड करना चार्ट्स, एज पर मी।
और पाइथन वगैरह?
हाँ,
आप अगर डेटा साइंस प्रोजेक्ट्स पे काम करोगे तो आपको पाइथन भी आना चाहिए। सो बिजनेस एनालिस्ट अलग अलग
हेलो
टाइप के
प्रॉपर
प्रोजेक्ट पे काम करेगा, राइट?
हेलो
हाँ, वैसा
हेलो
प्रॉपर तो कुछ होगा नहीं कि नहीं आपको प्रॉपरली इसी चीज पे
नीलू,
काम करना है।
आई थिंक दिस इज थोड़ा सा ऑफ टॉपिक, ओके, वेयर वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट योर aspiration. Maybe can we connect after the class, or I'll tell the team to connect with you, yeah, and make you understand what should be, what all tools you should be able to learn. Yeah.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes, Purnima.
Ma'am, when we are collecting these requirements, in what form do we collect it? Is it in the form of writing? कि traceability ऐसे होना चाहिए, functionality. How are we collecting the data? Or is there a tool to collect these requirements?
So it could be done in like different tools, like there are project management tools or requirement tools, but
Okay.
whatever, it could be as simple as a Word document where you put down everything and then you get a signature, or maybe you mail the requirements and then you align with your client.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So
हेलो
it could.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
हेलो
Yes. Yes,
मैम, मैं
Abhishek.
इसमें कुछ एडिशन कर सकता हूँ? लाइक
हाँ जी।
जैसे मैंने देखा कि अभी लाइक सारे के सारे ये पूछ रहे हैं कि लाइक इसमें कौन कौन सी लैंग्वेज की जरूरत है एज ए बिजनेस एनालिस्ट, बट like if you are a business analyst then you have to like a sense of business, how to run a business. like क्लाइंट हमारे पास आ गया, उसने बोला मुझे सेल्स बढ़ानी है, तो मुझे ये पता होना चाहिए कि मुझे सेल्स कैसे बढ़ानी है। तो लाइक मैं उसमें डाटा को एनालाइज करूंगा, उसके लिए मुझे एक्सेल, पाइथन या उसे प्रेजेंट करने के लिए पावर बीआई, टैबलू, उस चीज की नॉलेज होनी चाहिए। बट एज ए
Correct.
डीप हम इसमें ये नहीं है कि
So
मुझे डाटा साइंस की प्रॉपर नॉलेज होनी चाहिए, लाइक मुझे पाइथन बड़ा एडवांस में आना चाहिए या मुझे
बेसिक
सॉफ्टवेयर।
बेसिक आना चाहिए। तो
वर्किंग
एक
नॉलेज।
बिजनेस एनालिस्ट एक इंटरमीडिएट है बिटवीन क्लाइंट और
यस
आपका कोड डेवलपमेंट टीम। तो बिजनेस एनालिस्ट को रिक्वायरमेंट समझे, वो एक थोड़ा सा पीओसी बोलते हैं, प्रूफ ऑफ कंसेप्ट बनाना आना चाहिए उसे थ्रू बेसिक टूल्स, एक्सेल, पावर बीआई, थोड़ा सा लाइक एसक्यूएल या पाइथन कभी
इसमें
कभी। हाँ,
लाइक सेकंड पॉइंट ये था कि जैसे रिक्वायरमेंट्स चेंज होती हैं क्लाइंट सेंट्रिक का, तो इसमें कुछ स्टूडेंट्स के बेसिकली डाउट्स थे कि हम उसमें कैसे डील करेंगे। तो बेसिकली जब भी कोई कंपनी किसी क्लाइंट के साथ डील करती है तो वो बेसिकली एक प्रपोजल क्लाइंट को सबमिट होता है जिसमें प्राइस और वो कंपनी उसे क्या क्या प्रोवाइड करती है वो उसमें सब कुछ मेंशन होता है। अगर उसके बाद भी अगर कोई किसी क्लाइंट की पर्टिकुलर कोई रिक्वायरमेंट रहती हैं तो उसमें प्राइस और वो कंपनी एंड पे होता है, जिस कंपनी में आप काम कर रहे हो वो कंपनी डिसाइड करेगी कि उसे वो करना है कि नहीं करना है। अगर कंपनी मना करती है तब भी क्लाइंट को आपको पैसे देने ही पड़ेंगे। देयर शुड बी a mutual agreement between you and like your client.
correct. So change management, as Abhishek is saying, we have to have a proper change management. There's a budget decided. There's an agreement between you, the client and you. Okay, that these 10 features would be developed in this budget, in this cost. If there's something extra, that has to come with the cost and with the timeline, both. Okay. Great. Let's move on to requirement life cycle. Yeah. Now you are going to manage your requirements. There has to be, like, what all things or what all processes or what all steps you would go through. Okay, starting with elicitation, analysis and documentation, validation and verification, prioritization and negotiation, change management, communication and collaboration, traceability, implementation and testing, validation and acceptance, deployment and maintenance, and retirement and archiving. Okay, now I would want, let's just, okay, we will take this maybe after quick 10 or 15 minutes break. Okay, what I would want each, maybe one of you all read up and explain what you're trying to, what you get from this. Yeah. So maybe let's take a quick 10 minutes break and be back. Is it okay? Yeah, let's take a quick water break.
Sure, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
That would be great.
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
Okay, let's get set connected then.
Hi everyone, hope you all are back. Let me share my screen. Is everyone back from the break?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Great.
Yes.
Now, I'll go through stages. Yeah, I want y'all, okay, any one of y'all, maybe, one start with elicitation and then we go for analysis and documentation, validation and verification. One at a time. So who wants to, read elicitation and maybe, tell what you have understood from this? Yeah, so let's have some collaboration, like through these stages. Anyone from the group or should I nominate?
Hello, madam.
Yes, Mohammed. Yeah, you want to take this up?
Elicitation is a process that begins with the gathering of information from stakeholders, users, and other resources. Techniques such as interviews, surveys, and workshops are used to collect information about what the product or system needs to achieve.
Correct. So do you want to elaborate what you've understood from this?
That elicitation is a process where we gather information, madam.
So you'll have a client meeting, you'll have a survey, you'll have different workshops. If it's a very complex project, you might want to have multiple workshops. Yeah, so this is start of
Yes,
your
ma'am.
project where you'll have elicitation, where you'll understand all your requirements. So what should be the final product or how should the final system look like? That is elicitation. Okay. Anyone for analysis and documentation? Who wants to go next?
I'll read.
Yes,
Analysis and documentation. The collected requirements are analyzed to ensure they are clear, consistent, and complete. Ambiguities and contradictions and gaps are addressed. The requirements are then documented in a structured format, which could include use cases, user stories, functional specification, and more. This means once we get the requirement from the clients, then we have to analyze the things with our team that for a clear, consistent, and we have to analyze like can we do these things everything in our reach.
Correct.
We should also consider the contradiction, like certain things which we cannot do, so we can go to the client and ask them for little more changes or little more additions, so the gap can be addressed. And then this all, after doing all this should be properly documented in a structured format, means in a proper way, so that proper way while using certain previous projects, reports, cases, or any other functional specification which are under the limit of the company module. This is my understanding.
Great, British. So as you know, he said that we would want to analyze whatever requirements or whatever ask the client is saying, whether it is viable to make, whether it is realistic, whether it's complete. If you have any doubts, you might want to go back and check whether there are any gaps in understanding or any gaps, whatever the user is saying. If that's not possible, you might want to raise it at the beginning. And whatever you decide, everything should be documented and then aligned with whatever, like everything, like what all things you would do, what all why you would do, and whatever functional specifications are there, whatever tools would be used, or whatever functionalities you're going to develop. So everything should be documented in a document. So that is analysis and documentation. You'll analyze the requirement, And whatever you have understood, you will put down in a document. Yeah. Third one, validation and verification. Anyone from the group?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, Nilesh.
Validation and verification. Validation ensures that the document requirements accurately represent the stakeholders' needs and expectations. Verification focuses on checking the quality of the requirements documents itself, ensuring it adheres the standards and guidelines. It means what are the requirements from the stakeholders or the clients validated and be in a guide, proper rules and regulations, standard guidelines. It should not be illegal, right? In basic terms, and should be focusing on the quality of the requirements which are being made. Should be read by us properly if the content is right or not.
Yeah. Absolutely. So whatever documentation you've done of the requirements, someone or maybe the entire team should be able to validate and verify what all point. Okay, go by point, whether whatever you have written does it meet the objective. Are we missing on any things that should be included, or maybe something extra you have added? So everything should be validated and verified, and also quality, you should also put some quality requirements that these all things we would be able to achieve. So everything should be as per the standards, as per the guidelines. So that would be happening after you document. Someone, maybe team lead or the entire team that is going to work, maybe 4 or 5 people sit together and verify the document, so that it shouldn't happen that after maybe 6 months you say, okay, ye to nahi agree kiya tha. Shouldn't be like that. Okay, so everyone should be aligned, should know, okay, what is to be developed. Okay, so now in short in Hindi, elicitation ये स्टार्ट होगा एक रिक्वायरमेंट या एक प्रोजेक्ट का, जहाँ पर आप सारी रिक्वायरमेंट्स लोगे क्लाइंट से, तो आप क्लाइंट के साथ मीट करोगे या फिर वर्कशॉप अरेंज करोगे या इंटरव्यूज लोगे और सारे रिक्वायरमेंट समझ लोगे. सेकेंड, जो आपने रिक्वायरमेंट सुनी है या समझी है क्लाइंट से, उसको एनालाइज करोगे कि क्या क्या पॉसिबल होगा, क्या क्या नहीं पॉसिबल होगा. तो अगर कुछ आपको डाउट है तो आप चेक करोगे या क्लाइंट को वापस पूछोगे. अगर सारी रिक्वायरमेंट्स आपने समझ ली है, एनालाइज कर लिए, तो आप उसको एक वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट या कोई भी एक प्रॉपर डॉक्यूमेंट में नोट कर देंगे. दैट इज एनालिसिस एंड डॉक्यूमेंटेशन. थर्ड आएगा वैलिडेशन एंड वेरिफिकेशन. यहाँ पर अगर कोई और लाइक प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर या बीए ने सारी कर दी है, यहाँ पर टीम लीड या सारी टीम जो वर्क करेगी वो आके वैलिडेट करेगी कि जो जो पॉइंट्स लिखे हैं वो आइडियली प्रॉपर है या नहीं, क्लाइंट का ऑब्जेक्टिव मीट हो रहा है या नहीं, सारे क्वालिटीज चेक्स मेंशन है, या जो भी हमने रिक्वायरमेंट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन बनाया है वो एज पर स्टैंडर्ड और गाइडलाइन है या नहीं. तो यहाँ पर वैलिडेट करेंगे वो डॉक्यूमेंट. तो पहले मीटिंग करेंगे, रिक्वायरमेंट लेंगे, यहाँ पर चेक करेंगे वो सारी रिक्वायरमेंट, एनालाइज करेंगे, डॉक्यूमेंट करेंगे, और वो डॉक्यूमेंट हम वेरीफाई और वैलिडेट करेंगे. ये फर्स्ट 3 स्टेज. एनी डाउट एनीवन?
No.
Great.
No, ma'am. No.
Very good. Let's go back to next. Let's move ahead. Prioritization and negotiation. Okay, now who wants to take this up? I would give you a moment to read it if you are willing to.
Ma'am, may I?
Yes.
Prioritization and negotiation. In cases where requirements conflicts or resources are limited, requirements are prioritized based on their importance and feasibility. Stakeholders might negotiate to reach a consensus on the most critical requirements.
Yeah. So do you want to elaborate on in your own words? What have you understood from this?
Yeah, ma'am. In some cases, clients have explained some requirements to us, and we have a limited resources in that cases. So we express our feasibility and feasibility and prioritize the work according to the client requirement in this prioritization and negotiation stage.
Correct. So maybe, client is coming up with maybe many requirements, 10, 15. Yeah. So you might want to prioritize that, maybe which are the first 5 and most important requirement. Yeah. Depending upon everything. Okay. Depending upon the time, depending upon the resources, depending upon the data sets. Okay. So you might want to negotiate on maybe, what should be the first thing that should be developed. Yeah, and both, okay, the development team and the client should reach a proper consensus that, this is what we are going to develop. So that would be prioritization, where you check, okay, which is high priority, medium priority, and low priority functionalities. And then you explain both the points, okay, from both sides, and then come to a common conclusion. Yeah. Next one, change management. Anyone from the group?
May I?
Yes, Kinjan.
Okay, so change management. As the project progresses, requirements may change due to evolving stakeholder needs or market conditions. Changes are managed through a formal change control process to ensure they're evaluated, documented, and approved before implementation. So to sum it up, it means that as we all know, change is the only constant. So I mean, as market is volatile, we have to adapt as per market situations, and accordingly, we have to raise a proposal, and we have to evaluate. We have to document that properly and get proper approvals before we execute that. That is what I think.
Correct. Great, great. Good explanation, Kinjan. So whenever in between there are changes that are requested by client, first thing you might want to do is a feasibility check. Okay, just don't do because the client is asking. You might want to do feasibility check where you see what all processes or whatever resources would be occupied, or whatever codes that would be affected. And then you have a proper approval, okay, from your stakeholders, from the leads, from your business, everyone. If they approve, then only you could go ahead and implement. If they say no, we can't, wait maybe more 15 days to do this, maybe you don't do that, right? So there should be a proper change management in place where you analyze or assess the change requested, check the feasibility. If changing something would not majorly affect your entire project, get the approvals and have it all documented. Yeah. That's about change management. Next one, communication and collaboration. Yeah. Anyone from the group?
May I?
Nilesh, I think you did once, right? I want others to participate.
No problem.
Let's give others chance.
I'll do it.
Yes, Purna.
Communication and collaboration. Effective communication ensures that all project stakeholders, including developers, designers, testers, and users, understand the requirements and their implications. Collaboration between different teams helps maintain a shared vision of the project. This basically means that the requirements are clearly communicated amongst different parties, which means stakeholders, developers, between different team members, so that each member knows what exactly he needs to do, and he will do the needful.
Yeah, and then they understand the objective. Yeah.
They must have the common goal to achieve.
Great. Yeah.
Okay,
Correctly
thank you.
covered by Purnima. Yeah, great. Yeah. So let's just brief in Hindi. प्राइवेटाइजेशन नेगोशिएशन, अगर आपके पास मे बी 10 से 15 रिक्वायरमेंट्स है, आपको पहले चेक करना है कि कौन सी रिक्वायरमेंट बहुत जरूरी है, मतलब हाई प्रायोरिटी है, कौन से मीडियम प्रायोरिटी और सबसे लो प्रायोरिटी कौन सा है, और मे बी आप सिर्फ फर्स्ट 5 पे ये मंथ कंसंट्रेट करेंगे, और या बताओगे क्लाइंट को कि मैं ये 5 पे कंसंट्रेट करूंगा, और क्लाइंट और आपका एक प्रॉपर अग्रीमेंट होना चाहिए कि ये 5 पे पहले काम करें, फिर 5, फिर 5. तो वो प्रायोरिटाइजेशन एंड नेगोशिएशन का पार्ट होगा। चेंज मैनेजमेंट, अगर कोई न्यू चेंजेस आती हैं बीच में, तो आप पहले चेक करोगे कि वो चेंज अगर हम करेंगे तो क्या क्या चीजें अफेक्ट होगी, कौन कौन से रिसोर्सेज ब्लॉक रहेंगे, और प्रॉपर आप अप्रूवल लेके डॉक्यूमेंट करोगे वो सारे चेंजेस। हाँ, एंड देन लास्ट वाला कम्युनिकेशन एंड कोलैबोरेशन, सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी। आप एक प्रोजेक्ट में बहुत सारी टीम्स काम करती हैं, तो प्रॉपर जो भी कम्युनिकेशन है वो सारी टीम्स में हो रहा है और सारी टीम्स एक कॉमन गोल पे काम कर रही है, तो वो होगा कम्युनिकेशन एंड कोलैबोरेशन।
Excuse me, ma'am. ये वाला is this the job of the business analyst to make sure that ये जो आपका ये point है communication and collaboration, is this the job of a business analyst to make sure that communication reaches all the
Yes.
stakeholders
Yes.
properly?
Yes.
Okay.
Project lead, business analyst, as well as the team lead. Okay.
Okay.
So
Uh-huh.
business analyst might just inform team lead. Team lead also should inform one downs or the developers.
Okay. So basically, the business analyst must have good team management skills and
Yes.
communication skills so that he can communicate to all the parties in a manner that is required for successful completion of the project. Is it?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so which means email properly time पे भेजना है, किस किस को सीसी में रखना है, कैसे कैसे डॉक्यूमेंट बनाना है, सिग्नेचर सबका है या नहीं. These are one of will be the basic but important responsibility of a business analyst.
Correct.
Okay. So, ma'am, my question is, why does ये काम एक project manager भी कर सकता है? Why do organization require a business analyst? Because ये अभी आना शुरू हुआ है. इससे पहले तो I think एक ही बंदा शायद ये सब काम कर लेता था. So why
Project
is that?
management, project manager is slightly has a different roles and responsibilities than a business analyst. Business
Okay.
analyst understands, the entire domain. He understands the business processes. He understands, he's, more closer to the developer. Project management would be, more towards, working towards the timelines. What could be there in first sprint? How many user stories would be there? How many
Okay.
tickets? What are the issues? So there are different things, yeah?
Okay. ठीक है.
I mean,
Thank
to cut it short, project manager is more of an execution role. Business analyst is more of a gathering role, and of course, analyzing role. Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Next 3 stages. Anyone from the group who wants to take traceability and impact analysis? I want, there are 48 participants, like including me. So 47 of you, like at least 6-7 have gone before. Others, please, read and explain what you have understood from this. Yeah.
May I do it?
Yes.
So traceability and impact analysis. The requirements traceability establishes links between requirements and various project artifacts. This allows for tracking how each requirement is addressed throughout the project. Impact analysis helps assess the effects of changes to requirements on the project as a whole. So basically, wherever we are making changes, we should monitor and we can trace back to the step where we made the changes. Is that it?
Mm-hmm. Correct. So whatever functionalities you're developing, you should be able to test, okay, these all were mentioned in your requirement document. And if there are any impacts to the changes, you should try to measure them, okay, in a project.
Right.
So that is traceability and impact analysis. Correct. Implementation and testing, anyone?
Can I?
Yes.
The development team translates the requirement into design, specification, code, and other tangible components. Testing activity ensures that the implemented feature meet the specific requirement and function as intended. So implementation team, like as we have discussed, that there are many developers and designers. Together we have a team. So all these members were going to transform the, like if we want to construct an app, or if we want to make an app, so they were just going to convert everything into a tangible asset, like looking like an app or something. And after that, testing activities will be done by tester team to ensure whether the app which have been developed by team member has been working properly as per the requirement of clients or not.
Correct. So here, okay, the development team and the testing team would come. Okay, so whatever requirements you have documented, you've analyzed, you've checked, now it's the time to develop the code and test it. Okay, so this is the phase where you implement and test the code. Great. Next one, validation and acceptance. Anyone from the group? Validation and acceptance. Yes, Mrunmay.
Validation and acceptance. After development and testing, the product or system is validated to ensure it meets the initial requirements. Stakeholders participate in acceptance testing to confirm that the product aligns with their needs and expectations.
Correct. Can you please brief what you've understood this? Okay, so maybe I can help there. Validation, internal team would validate, okay, after development, we will validate whether it meets every requirement what was mentioned. And acceptance, we will have stakeholders or client here where they will participate and do the acceptance testing, whether whatever is developed is actually what they had requested. So validation and acceptance. Okay, so let me just hand over to clients. No, this is not
This
hand
is
over.
done before
Abhishek,
deployment.
here. This is not deploying. Here, at least you would do a testing with the client.
Yeah,
would
this is
see
done
from
before
here
deployment.
before deployment.
Yeah.
Okay, not deployment yet. Yeah. So in Hindi, traceability and impact analysis, आप चेक करोगे कि क्या क्या बनाना है और हम क्या क्या बना रहे हैं. एक ट्रेस करोगे, ये हमारे पास रिक्वायरमेंट है, हम ये बनाने वाले हैं. इम्प्लीमेंटेशन एंड टेस्टिंग, यहाँ पर डेवलपमेंट टीम कोड डेवलप करेगी, प्रोडक्ट डेवलप करेगी, और टेस्टिंग टीम टेस्ट करेगी कि जो बन रहा है वो प्रॉपर है या नहीं. लास्ट फेज वैलिडेशन एंड एक्सेप्टेंस, हम वैलिडेट करेंगे कि जो फाइनल प्रोडक्ट बना है ये सारा फंक्शनैलिटीज कवर कर रहा है या नहीं. और एक्सेप्टेंस, यहाँ पर हम एक्चुअली क्लाइंट या स्टेक होल्डर को इन्वॉल्व करेंगे, हम उसे प्रोडक्ट दिखाएंगे और वो बताएगा कि ये प्रोडक्ट उसी ने लाइक रिक्वेस्ट किया था या नहीं, और क्या क्या फंक्शनैलिटीज मिसिंग है या प्रॉपर है पूरा. सो वो वैलिडेशन एंड एक्सेप्टेंस में आएगा.
मैम ये स्टेज,
बोलिए
मैम, ये वैलिडेशन एंड एक्सेप्टेंस स्टेज पे क्लाइंट अपना रिक्वायरमेंट और ऐड कर
नहीं, यहाँ पर तो वो एक्सेप्ट कर रहा है, प्रोडक्ट बन गया है, वो साइन ऑफ दे रहा है.
ओके ओके.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this requirement analysis document is in the form of BRS and SRS for a data analyst and other person, be a person, business person, or it is in a LLD or HLD?
LLD, you mean high level document and low level document?
Yeah.
This is high level document. Okay, technical would be low level document.
Yeah. So data analyst also understand this.
See, now why this topic is taken, okay, for everyone, why this topic is taken at the beginning of your data analytics course. Why? Because, as you move ahead in your career, you might be responsible to do multiple things rather than just development, right? So, and you should have a very brief understanding of, the bigger picture, how the project works, or, how many people are involved, what is responsibilities of what. Okay, that's why we are covering this at a high level. Maybe you have to do it in your current role and responsibility now, or maybe not. Okay, but any point of time, you might want to you might get these responsibilities, and it shouldn't happen at that point that you don't know all this thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why this is the topic that we are covering first, requirement analysis.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope this is clear to everyone.
Ma'am, requesting if you could kindly explain the deployment and maintenance stage, ma'am, if it's okay with you.
Deployment and I am going to take this. I've not covered it yet. Yeah. So we'll
Okay,
do
okay.
it here. Yeah. Don't worry. Yeah. Is it clear, okay, of the objective of today's class? Okay, why we are taking this topic first?
Yeah.
I believe we will be having further classes on requirement analysis.
And I think this is the only one. Okay, then you will start
Okay.
with your different tools and case studies. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And we will get this presentation, right?
Surely, yes.
Okay, that's great.
One more, ma'am.
Yes.
Are you going to showcase any sample of such a document in which the user stories and all things are mentioned?
I have a small, like right after this, an example, but not in a document format, but what all points we would be having. Okay, but you can check, a proper project documentation, how does it look like, or whatever requirement analysis or requirement gathering is there. You can check maybe your internal projects, how they are stored at one place. Yeah. Great. Okay, now let's talk about deployment and maintenance. Who wants to take this up?
Yeah. Can I?
Yes. Yes.
Deployment and maintenance. Once validated and accepted, the product is deployed to its intended environment. Maintenance activities involving addressing issues that arise, making updates based on feedback, and adapting to changing requirements. It's like once the UAT is done between the stakeholder and from our side, then the product is deployed into the environment or to the users.
Production. Yeah.
Yeah. After that, we get a feedback how it is going, and according to that, stakeholder make a changes in the requirements. They again give us new requirements. According to that, we also going to change it.
Very correct. Yeah. So as mentioned, we deploy once the user says, okay, this is the final product that he requested. We give that product, or maybe we deploy the product in a production environment where the user will have all the flexibility to use your software. Yeah. After it is available and the user or the client start using this, you have certain maintenance activity or certain issues that might arise, or maybe certain errors, right? Because not everything might be just perfect, or maybe while he uses the system, he might want to come up with more feedbacks or more features or more changes. So there would be maintenance activities, some error fixes, bug fixes, and this would happen as a part of maintenance. And finally, retirement and archiving. Yeah. Anyone who wants to take that up?
Can I read?
Yes.
Retirement and archival. In the case of a product becoming obsolete or reaching the end of its life cycle, the requirement documentation and related artifact may be archived or retained from the future references or compliance purposes. Ma'am, once the product is obsoletely used or reaching its end cycle, so the required documents or the analysis which have been done are being achieved, something like that, I guess.
Right. So after your project is completed, yeah, everything, your maintenance activities are done, all the features are covered. Now there is a point where all the documents, okay, starting from your requirement gathering, your technical document, or some code or some use cases, everything should be kept at one place. Okay, why? Because tomorrow someone else might want to make some changes, or maybe some new team wants to do some changes, or there should be some documentation for each and everything which should be accountable. So you would store all the documents in one folder for any future references. So that is retirement and archival. In Hindi, डिप्लॉयमेंट एंड मेंटेनेंस, आपको अगर क्लाइंट से साइन ऑफ मिल जाता है कि मतलब यही वाला प्रोडक्ट चाहिए था, तो आप वो प्रोडक्ट को एक ऐसे एनवायरनमेंट में डिप्लॉय करेंगे जहां पर वो यूज कर पाए क्लाइंट। तो क्लाइंट यूज करेगा, और अगर यूज करते करते उसको ऐसे लग रहा है कि कुछ नहीं चल रहा है या कुछ एरर आ रहा है या कुछ मुझे और फंक्शनैलिटीज चाहिए, तो वो आपको बताएगा। तो वो एज अ पार्ट ऑफ मेंटेनेंस एक्टिविटी होगी या बग फिक्सेस होंगे। तो ये सारा डिप्लॉयमेंट एंड मेंटेनेंस में है। रिटायरमेंट एंड आर्काइवल, ये वाले फेज में आपके जितने भी डॉक्यूमेंट्स है, जितने भी साइन ऑफ है, जितने भी लाइक प्रोजेक्ट से रिलेटेड डॉक्यूमेंट्स है, वो आप एक शेयर्ड फोल्डर में जाके स्टोर करेंगे, ताकि अगर आपको कहीं पे भी फ्यूचर में आपको रेफर करना है तो आप एक कॉमन जगह पर आप सारे चेक कर सकते हैं। ओके, so we covered the stages. Let's just go through the stages. We started with elicitation, analysis and documentation, validation and verification, prioritization and negotiation, change management, communication and collaboration, traceability and impact analysis, implementation and testing, validation and acceptance, deployment, and finally, retirement and archiving. Yeah. Now, these are the stages. Okay, now let's take a very glance like of all these stages using some example where you want to develop a data visualization for a retail company. So a retail company client has come to you and has asked to develop a dashboard. Okay, so elicitation may what all would be happen? You would first identify who all are listing. So retail managers, marketing analyst, sales team, or IT staff, okay, of the client would be the stakeholders. You would start conducting interviews or maybe workshop. You will check what kind of data they have, whether they have sales data, inventory data, customer behavior pattern, everything. Okay, you will also start checking what all data sources are there within the company, what all databases are there, what all data sets are available and in what format. And then you will also document the initial requirement very briefly. That will happen in elicitation. Okay, I will give you a moment to read. In Hindi, एग्जाम्पल है ये सारे स्टेजेस का। अगर हमें एक डैशबोर्ड बिल्ड करना है एक रिटेल कंपनी के लिए, तो हम वो कैसे करें? एलिसिटेशन फेज में क्या क्या होगा, आप चेक करोगे कौन कौन स्टेक होल्डर्स है, क्लाइंट के साइड से कौन कौन है। रिटेल मैनेजर्स होंगे, मार्केटिंग एनालिस्ट होगी, सेल्स टीम होगी उनकी, या आईटी वाले होंगे। आप इंटरव्यूज कंडक्ट करोगे या वर्कशॉप कंडक्ट करोगे, चेक करोगे कि क्या क्या उन्हें विजुअलाइजेशन चाहिए, कौन कौन से डेटा सेट्स अवेलेबल है और कौन कौन से फॉर्म में है, स्प्रेडशीट में है या कोई डेटाबेस में है, क्लाउड प्लेटफॉर्म पे है, सारी चीजें। और आप जो जो वो बता रहे हैं वो एक इनिशियल डॉक्यूमेंट में लिखते जाएंगे। तो वो सारा एलिसिटेशन पार्ट में होगा। Okay, just stop me when you have any doubt or raise your hands. Yeah, great. Analysis and documentation, whatever meetings you had, whatever workshops you had, you will define what they said. Okay, so specify the types of data that needs to be visualized, whether it's a historical sales data, product inventory, or customer demographics. And also understand, okay, just don't develop, understand, okay, why they are trying to request. So maybe, create user stories. So as a retail manager, he wants to view monthly sales trend. Okay, or as a marketing analyst, I want to see which market is growing. Yeah, so try to create user stories. Design data flow, कि कैसे data कहाँ से लेना चाहिए, कैसे load होना चाहिए. And finally, how should the performance look like? Okay, for interaction, and how should be the quality, what should be the response time, how should be the performance of the dashboard. Give me a moment. तो एनालिसिस एंड डॉक्यूमेंटेशन में क्या करेंगे, जो जो रिक्वायरमेंट्स बताई है चेक करोगे कि कौन कौन से ग्राफ्स और चार्ट्स बनाने हैं और हम क्यों बना रहे हैं। तो एक अगर रिटेल मैनेजर ने रिक्वेस्ट किया कि कुछ ट्रेंड देखना है सेल्स का, तो वो क्यों कर रहे हैं। ऑल्सो आप चेक करो कि डेटा कहाँ कहाँ से लेना चाहिए, कैसे ट्रांसफॉर्म होना चाहिए और लोड कैसे करें, और फाइनली कैसा आपका प्रोडक्ट दिखना चाहिए, क्वालिटी क्या क्या हम मेंटेन करें। तो वो आएगा एनालिसिस एंड डॉक्यूमेंटेशन में। Verification and validation, you will check whatever requirements you have, whether it aligns with the client's objective and target picture. Yeah, you would start preparing mock-ups or prototypes. You will also say, okay, this is how the final system would look like, maybe some screenshots. Yeah, why? Maybe you want to ask, okay, this is what the client is asking. So some POC, some cross check, where you will try to make a dummy from a dummy sample data. Okay, how this is how it would look like. Okay, so verify accuracy. You will cross check data requirements against available data sources to ensure accuracy. You will check whatever data sources are there, are they correct in all the sources. So validation and verification में क्या क्या होगा, आप चेक करोगे कि जो जो रिक्वायरमेंट मेंशन किए हैं वो सही से लिखे हैं, और आप वेरीफाई करोगे। आप ये स्टेज में छोटे से पीओसी भी बना सकते हो सैंपल डेटा के साथ, मे बी 5-6 रिकॉर्ड लेके ये ग्राफ ऐसे दिखेगा, और आप क्लाइंट को बताओ कि ये ना फाइनल में ये ऐसे दिखने वाला है विथ रियल टाइम डेटा। तो ये सारी चीजें आप वैलिडेशन एंड वेरिफिकेशन स्टेज में करेंगे। Prioritization and negotiation. If you have to build 10 or 15 charts, you will check, you will rank the visualization types, what is more important, whether the client would like to see sales by region or customer segmentation. You will ask, you will rank the priorities कि कौन सा important है। आपको सेल्स फिगर्स अभी चेक करनी है या कस्टमर के डेटा पे काम करें, वो हम चेक करते हैं कि कौन सा पहले करना है। Define MVP. MVP is minimal viable product. कि चेक करो कि ये सारे 5 या 6 फीचर्स के बाद ही प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च होना चाहिए। तो व्हाट शुड बी द मिनिमल वायबल प्रोडक्ट टू लॉन्च। तो वो कौन से फंक्शनैलिटीज है, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट कि ये सारे होने ही चाहिए। तो दैट इज मिनिमल वायबल प्रोडक्ट। एंड फाइनली आप नेगोशिएट करोगे स्कोप को। आपके कुछ व्यूज अलग होंगे, क्लाइंट के कुछ व्यूज अलग होंगे। आप एक मीटिंग अरेंज करोगे, चेक करोगे, एक कॉमन कंसेंसस पे आओगे कि ये 5 हम चार्ट्स देंगे पहले स्प्रेड पे। तो ये सारा प्रायोरिटाइजेशन एंड नेगोशिएशन में होगा। Okay, any doubt, anyone so far? Is it okay, like, or the speed is fast?
No, it's okay.
Okay. Then you will also have a change management process. Okay, अगर एक न्यू डेटा सोर्स कुछ ऐड हो रहा है तो आप चेक करोगे कि उसका फिजिबिलिटी डिजाइन पे कितना इफेक्ट होगा, कैसे हम इंक्लूड करेंगे, सारे अप्रूवल्स लाओगे। तो एक प्रोसेस आप फॉलो करेंगे अगर आपको कोई न्यू डेटा सोर्स या एक न्यू विजुअलाइजेशन ऐड करने बोला जाएगा, तो आप पूरा चेक करोगे। सो इन दिस केस स्टेक होल्डर ने रिक्वेस्ट की है कि एक और डेटा सोर्स ऐड करो या एक और न्यू विजुअलाइजेशन ऐड करो, तो ये दोनों हो सकते हैं ये केस में। Communication and collaboration, this is very general. You will have a proper communication। अगर न्यू डेटा स्ट्रक्चर ऐड हुआ है, न्यू कॉलम ऐड हुआ है, न्यू ग्राफ ऐड हुआ है, तो आप सबको बताएं। ऐसे नहीं आप डेवलप करें और टेस्टिंग टीम को पता ही नहीं है कि वो भी टेस्ट करना है। तो आप एक प्रॉपर कम्युनिकेशन और कोलैबोरेशन। प्लीज ऑफ योर माइक, या आई एम हियरिंग माय एको। Great. ट्रेसेबिलिटी एंड इम्पैक्ट एनालिसिस, आपने अगर 10 विजुअलाइजेशन बना दिए, आप चेक करोगे कि ये फर्स्ट वाला चार्ट क्लाइंट ने बोला था सेल्स ट्रेंड बाय रीजन फॉर ऑल रीजन्स, ये हो रहा है या नहीं, यहाँ पर फिल्टर्स वर्क कर रहे हैं या नहीं। तो आप ट्रेस करोगे हर एक चार्ट और हर एक रिक्वायरमेंट के साथ मैच करोगे, ट्रेस करोगे जो भी बना हुआ है वो रिक्वेस्टेड है या नहीं, और उसमें क्या क्या पॉइंट्स और कंस्ट्रेंट मेंशन्ड है। ठीक है, दैट वुड बी ट्रेसेबिलिटी एंड इम्पैक्ट एनालिसिस। और इम्पैक्ट एनालिसिस में अगर कोई चेंज है तो उसका आप चेक करोगे कि कितना इम्पैक्ट हो रहा है। ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट है तो हम थोड़ा सा टाइमलाइन एक्सटेंड करेंगे, अगर एक दिन में या थोड़े घंटों में हो रहा है तो आप वो इम्पैक्ट और या वो चेंज कर लेंगे आफ्टर हैविंग ऑल अप्रूवल्स, अगर आपको अप्रूवल मिल गया तो। implementation and testing, this stage you will start making data models, you will start creating charts. Okay, after you finalize the mock-ups, everything, this is a time where you will connect to the live data, to actual data set, and would make the charts that are requested. Okay, and then you will also have the unit testing in place. Okay, like the test scripts ready. So implementation and testing में यहाँ पर आप एक्चुअल डेटा सोर्स से कनेक्ट करोगे, डेटा मॉडल बनाओगे, ग्राफ्स बनाओगे और आप टेस्ट करोगे हर एक चीज। वैलिडेशन एंड एक्सेप्टेंस, आप टेस्ट करोगे, टेस्टिंग टीम टेस्ट करेगी और फाइनली यूजर या क्लाइंट भी टेस्ट करेगा कि ये सारे ग्राफ्स बरोबर है या नहीं, जो टेस्ट किए वो तरीके से बने हैं या नहीं, और फिर आपको वो एक ईमेल या एक साइन ऑफ देगा कि हाँ ये प्रोडक्ट बना है एंड अभी हम इसको प्रोडक्शन में डाल सकते हैं। यस किंजल।
Just one question, ma'am. So you just talked about testing data models. I mean, are we supposed to do that? I mean, that is what I was saying. Because testing, I mean, building a model, deploying that model, it's more of a data science oriented job role. Am I
No,
correct?
this is data model that you would like have before making the charts. So not every time all the database would be at one place, right? You might get data from different sources. How do you collect the data? How do you make different columns? So that would be part of data models, not the machine learning model. This is data model.
Okay, but isn't it
Okay.
more of a data engineering kind of a role? That is what I was asking.
But this, yeah, data engineering or the database team. When you're making a dashboard, it's like a normal database team that could do the needful, right? So in this case, this is implementation on the development stage. So here, the database or data engineering team would be there, the reporting team would be there, and the testing team would be there.
Okay, it's a combined effort, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, here you will start implementing backend, front end, and the testing. So backend, the data models, front end, the reports. Yeah. I hope I was clear, Kinshal.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for explaining. Thank you.
Great. And validation and acceptance we already covered. यहाँ पर आपको client बताएगा कि हाँ ये सही से बना है या नहीं. After you get a go ahead, you would deploy the final product into the production environment where the client would have a right to use the product or to see the dashboard, or to put filters and slice and dice your data. Okay, and then we will monitor the performance ki, like what's the response time, is the system available all the time. So ये वाले स्टेज में आप डिप्लॉय करोगे प्रोडक्शन में, जहां पर आपका क्लाइंट यूज कर पाएंगे आपके सारे रिपोर्ट्स, वो अलग अलग फिल्टर पे क्लिक करके चेक करेंगे कि रिजल्ट्स कैसे दिख रहे हैं, और फिर हम मॉनिटर भी करेंगे कंटिन्यूस फीडबैक कि कैसे चल रहा है सिस्टम, कुछ एरर्स तो नहीं आ रहे हैं, कुछ इश्यूज तो नहीं है, या कुछ डेटा गलत आ रहा है, ये सारा हम डिप्लॉयमेंट एंड मेंटेनेंस में करेंगे। एंड फाइनली रिटायरमेंट एंड आर्काइवल, अगर सब ठीक हो जाएगा, then you will have all the documentation what you have made, everything, all the documentation, all the artifacts, all the data dictionary, everything, all the versions of the code, you will keep it at one place in some shared folders in some specified location which can be used for further references. तो आप सारी documentation एक जगह पर store करोगे ताकि आपको अगर फ्यूचर में रेफर करना है तो आप एक जगह पर जाके चेक करो. यहाँ पर अगर क्लाइंट ने कुछ अप्रूवल दिया है वो एक मेल के फॉर्मेट में है तो वो मेल को भी सेव करना. ओके, एनी डाउट एनीवन?
No.
No, ma'am.
Now, okay, as a self check or a quick assignment, which you can, give your thoughts later over a week or maybe take some time. Try to, elicitate these all, maybe, put down your thoughts on all these stages for your current project. Maybe you are already working, like many of you all said that, you are working in some industry. So you can try to jot down the points that would happen in all the stages. Or you can take this example where you might want to have a requirement life cycle for customer segmentation. Customer segmentation means customer को ग्रुप करना अलग अलग वे से. तो एक अगर रिक्वायरमेंट है क्लाइंट का कि अगर हमें एक कस्टमर को ग्रुप करना है तो हम वो कैसे करें. तो एक रिक्वायरमेंट गैदरिंग के स्टेजेस कैसे होने चाहिए वो आप एक सिर्फ नोट डाउन कर सकते हैं या एज अ सेल्फ चेक. Part of requirement management and the stages. Okay, now I'm talking about the last topic, which is design definition. Okay, now as a business analyst or maybe people who are going to work more on, code or developing, you might also want to have a technical documentation in place. Okay, so that's a high level documentation. This is low level, where you will actually put all the details properly of, how the system should look like. So that's the part of designing, how the product should be designed, how the design of the product should look like. So let me read up. Design definition refers to a process of creating a detailed plan. So client से हमने बातचीत कर ली, सब फिक्स हो गया कि हम ये प्रोडक्ट डेवलप करने वाले हैं. अभी अगर हम टीम के साथ बैठते हैं तो एक अलग हम प्रोसेस फॉलो करेंगे जहां पर हम सारे कुछ चीजें डिटेल में लिखेंगे कि ये हम सारे स्टेप्स फॉलो करेंगे. फिर टेस्टिंग टीम आएगी ये 10 फीचर्स टेस्ट करेगी. यहाँ पर ये कोड ऐसा होना चाहिए, कोड वैसा होना चाहिए, डेटा कहाँ स्टोर करें. तो हम ये सारी टेक्निकल डिटेल्स हम क्लाइंट के साथ नहीं डिस्कस कर सकते हैं. ये हम इंटरनली टेक्निकल टीम या प्रोजेक्ट टीम बैठकर सारा प्लान बनाएगी. तो दैट इज डिजाइन डेफिनेशन. ओके, Satyajit, you are like trying to hover with pen. I would request you can do it later. Yeah. So you will come up with a detailed plan or a blueprint of how the system will be structured, organized and implemented. ये आप project team पे internal करोगे. It involves translating the high level requirements and concept into specific technical specification कि क्या क्या database कहाँ है, उसके लॉगिन क्या है, पासवर्ड क्या है, कौन कौन से टेबल्स रिफर करने हैं, कौन कौन से कॉलम्स लेने हैं. तो ये सारा हम टेक्निकल डॉक्यूमेंटेशन में मेंटेन करेंगे. दैट गाइड्स द एक्चुअल डेवलपमेंट प्रोसेस एंड it's a very crucial step because you would want to have this document in place because you would try to work in a team, right? So there might be like multiple developers who would be referring to that document. Okay, so that they refer and they use the same data set or the same table or the same column that you are using. It shouldn't be that I'm making a sales trend dashboard from data set A and the tester is testing from data set B and then he's saying it's not correct. Yeah, why? Because I and the tester are not referring to the same data sets. Yeah, so everything, all the technical documents should be maintained. तो यहाँ पर हम सारे टेक्निकल डिटेल्स हम मेंटेन करेंगे कि हम कौन सा टेबल रेफर करेंगे, कहाँ पर हम सारा कोड स्टोर करेंगे, कहाँ पर कौन सी टीम रिस्पॉन्सिबल है. तो ये इंटरनल प्रोजेक्ट टीम की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि हम प्रॉपर डिटेल प्लान बनाएं. ओके, की एस्पेक्ट्स क्या हम ध्यान रखेंगे, हम कुछ कुछ चीजें ध्यान रखेंगे कि आर्किटेक्चर डिजाइन क्या क्या होना चाहिए, कहाँ कहाँ कौन सा मॉड्यूल है, कौन कौन सा सिस्टम है, कौन सा सॉफ्टवेयर है, तो आर्किटेक्चर कैसे दिख रहा है. देन component design. Component design would be how individual components would look like. Individual components means if in a project there are maybe 5 like the dashboard, there's a back end, there is a front end, there are maybe different modules or different tabs, like एक ऑर्डर डेटा सेट को हिट कर रहा है, या एक सेल्स डेटा सेट को हिट कर रहा है, एक इन्वेंटरी को हिट कर रहा है. तो ये 3 अलग अलग कंपोनेंट्स है. तो वो कंपोनेंट की डिजाइन कैसी है, वो कैसे कैसे हम उसको इंटीग्रेट कर रहे हैं, तो ये सारा कंपोनेंट डिजाइन में आएगा. आर्किटेक्चर में कौन कौन से टूल्स आएंगे, कैसे कैसे डेटा फ्लो होगा, कंपोनेंट में कौन कौन से डेटा सोर्स हिट कर रहे हैं. ओके, हाउ वुड दे कम्युनिकेट एंड एक्सचेंज डेटा. Database design. So schema design, how are we going to include what all tables you will include, and if there are multiple tables, what are the relationships between the tables. And then important data integrity, is the data correct or maybe consistent at all places. So यहाँ पर हम database design बनाएंगे कि कौन कौन से tables ले रहे हैं, उनके बीच में अगर रिलेशनशिप है तो वो कैसी है, और अगर हमारे पास 4-5 सोर्सेस है तो हर एक सोर्सेस में सेम डेटा है नहीं, ये भी टेस्ट करना है. ओके, नेक्स्ट वन इज यूआई. यूआई मतलब फ्रंट एंड कैसे दिख रहा है, कि डेटा फ्लो कैसे दिख रहा है. अगर मैं सबमिट पे क्लिक कर रही हूँ तो कौन सी स्क्रीन आनी चाहिए, अगर मैं लॉगिन पे क्लिक कर रही हूँ तो कौन सा पेज दिखना चाहिए, होम स्क्रीन दिखना चाहिए, या प्रोडक्ट पेज दिखना चाहिए, या स्टोरी दिखना चाहिए. तो सारा यूआई में होगा. So user interaction and visual design part of UI. So everything would be part of technical document. Algorithm design, not the machine learning, but the basic, even if there are some flow charts, okay, how the data is flowing from one source to another, there should be proper flow charts. And if there are any errors, अगर कुछ error आ रहे हैं तो हम उसको document करें. Error handling and error messages. So why do we want to document them? Because same errors or error messages aa rahe hain, we already have a solution. Yeah. So errors and exception handling should also be part of technical document. Yeah. And finally, like you'll have security design, performance optimization. सिक्योरिटी डिजाइन में क्या होगा कि किन किन को एक्सेस देना है, कैसे कैसे एक्सेस देना है, किसको कौन सा डेटा दिखना चाहिए, किसको कौन सा डेटा नहीं दिखना चाहिए. अगर मैं like if I'm a sales manager of only Maharashtra, I should not be able to see sales data of Gujarat, yeah, or any other region. So what all authorization, what all authentication I should have. And data encryption, if I have some sensitive data about personal information or the passwords or some financial data, I should have a proper data encryption in place. Security में क्या क्या होगा, proper authorize करोगे किस किस को कैसा access चाहिए, पासवर्ड से देना है, या मैनेजर होगा तो उसको सिर्फ वन डाउन्स का डेटा दिखना चाहिए, उसको हायर लेवल मैनेजर्स का डेटा नहीं दिखना चाहिए. या अगर हमारे पास कोई डेटा पर्सनल है, लाइक फाइनेंशियल है, कुछ पर्सनल डिटेल्स है या पासवर्ड्स है, तो हम उसको कैसे स्टोर करें. देन परफॉर्मेंस ऑप्टिमाइजेशन. आई वांट माय सिस्टम, वी वांट आवर प्रोजेक्ट, जस्ट अ मिनट. Yeah, so performance optimization, I want my system to be very quick. Okay, so I should have efficient memory storage, processing speed, or good bandwidth. Yeah, and there should be caching facilities or caching strategies, meaning data will be cached frequently to improve performance. Data will be stored at some place so that the speed is fast. And finally, इंटीग्रेशन एंड एपीआईज इफ यू वांट टू इंटीग्रेट, अगर आप एक कोई टूल में डेवलप कर रहे हो डैशबोर्ड, पर आपको वो किसी ऐप में बिल्ड करके देना है या किसी अलग सॉफ्टवेयर में डालना है, तो आपको वो इंटीग्रेट करना पड़ेगा या एपीआई बनाना पड़ेगा. तो अगर वो रिक्वायरमेंट है तो ये नॉट नेसेसरी सब में होगा, बट अगर है तो आप वो भी डॉक्यूमेंट करो टेक्निकल डॉक्यूमेंट में. तो अगर आपको कौन कौन से सिस्टम में इंक्लूड करना है, और अगर आपको एपीआई बना के देखना है ताकि वो एक सॉफ्टवेयर से दूसरे सॉफ्टवेयर में कम्युनिकेट करे, तो आपको एपीआई बनाना पड़ेगा. तो ये वाला आप टेक्निकल डॉक्यूमेंटेशन में लिख सकते हैं, या डिजाइन
Ma'am, what is API?
application programming interface. So when you want to integrate like communicate between two systems, if you can't have a integration directly, you can develop a API and you can use it in different system. Okay, it's like an integration tool.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And finally, again, same thing, documentation and communication within the entire team should be there. Okay, all the technical specification. If I am, changing one table, so I should write in the technical documentation that I've changed this table, I have added 2 more columns. तो सारा documentation और communication ये वाले design document में भी चाहिए. Okay, so जो first वाला part था वो high level था, जहाँ पर requirement management करना है. ये वाला जब आपको go ahead मिल जाता है client से कि आप अभी start करो project, तो आप internally manage कैसे करोगे? तो एक design document भी होना चाहिए जहाँ पर आप internal team का alignment assure करेंगे. So 2 types of like documentations we have seen today. Yeah. And I think we have more 10 minutes. So if you have any doubts, I know we have extended our class today, but yeah, it's very important to take it slow and every one of us are aligned and understand what are we talking about. Yeah. Any doubt in any of the slides?
Oh, ma'am.
No.
Ma'am, I have one doubt.
Yes.
Why we need to archive obsolete softwares? Like, what is the exact requirement? Why companies do that?
Like suppose I am shifting from software A to B.
Yeah.
And I am, trying to convert everything what was there in A to B. Okay. Tomorrow, now my A is become obsolete. Okay, so I can't just get rid of away of this. I might want to have that at least for more 5-6 years. I will start using system B. If in any case there is some issue or there is some wrong like software or maybe some wrong functionalities, I have to go back and check कि ये A में कैसे था. Okay. So there should be something, right? A data backup or software backup or a tool backup. Yeah.
Okay, got
Deepak,
it.
you will be getting the PDF after the session, yeah?
Hello.
Yes, could you please send the PDF, I mean the presentation in this Telegram group itself so that we all can download it and use it?
I actually do not have a right to share the document here. I would request the team that will, give you here directly, yeah? Let me just check if I can share it here.
Ma'am?
No, I can't here. You will get it right after the class, yeah? I'll tell the team to share it with you.
Hello.
Sure.
Yes.
मैम एक डाउट था मुझे, जो एरर हैंडलिंग जो है आपने बोला, उसको मेंटेन कौन करता है? मतलब डेवलपर करेगा कि कौन करेगा?
हाँ, डेवलपमेंट टीम करेगी कि क्या एरर आया था और क्या यूज किया सॉल्व करने के लिए.
तो डॉक्यूमेंटेशन पूरे वो लोग ही रखेंगे अपने पास?
डेवलपमेंट नहीं, ये सारे डॉक्यूमेंट तो हम एक शेयर ड्राइव में रखने वाले हैं ना, तो ये एरर वाला टेस्टर और डेवलपमेंट टीम दोनों मिलकर करेंगे.
अच्छा, ठीक है, थैंक यू.
और सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स एक जगह पर एक फोल्डर पे.
हेलो. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, ma'am. This is Nilesh. Just correct me if I'm wrong. Basically, ये जो भी हमने आज सीखा, these are the requirements of any analyst, whether it be data, business, or data science analyst, right? These are the basic terms and conditions.
Any project. Yeah,
Yeah.
any project. Yes.
So, okay, all right. Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Madam,
Okay, one more thing from my side. Okay, until we are there, I'm giving you a feedback link because this was the session that I take for requirement analysis. It would be very good to hear your feedback, whether this session was beneficial or not. Maybe you can, help me with the feedback if you're, more confident and you know more better or maybe more things today, yeah, about requirement.
madam,
And maybe, if
Okay,
you
ma'am.
could write my name, it would be good. Okay.
madam,
Yes.
is
If you
is
have no doubts, you can leave the session, and it would be great that if you provide the feedback. Yeah.
madam,
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
madam,
Thanks,
data
everyone.
analyst data analyst also should perform all the system requirement analysis steps, madam.
Not exactly directly, but when you advance in your career, like when you become a lead or maybe you want to also handle a team, then you might also want to do requirement analysis, proper documentation, and everything. Yeah.
Madam, what are the tools used for requirement analysis, madam?
So this is like when you do requirement analysis, you should understand domain. Yeah. Basic Excel or like Power BI, where whatever requirements if you're working on a project on analytics, you should be well versed with basic analytical tools. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, madam.
हेलो मैम,
Yes.
इज दिस गणेश। आपने जो असाइनमेंट बोला था, मतलब रिक्वायरमेंट लाइफ साइकिल फॉर कस्टमर सेगमेंटेशन, उसके मतलब क्या क्या असाइनमेंट क्या है उसके रिलेटिव, मतलब मेरे को समझ में नहीं आया।
Yes, ma'am.
तो दो टाइप का आप असाइनमेंट ले सकते हो। आप अगर कोई करंट प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे हो तो उसमें रिक्वायरमेंट साइकिल कैसे दिखेगा, उसमें कौन से पॉइंट्स हो सकते हैं, एक आप वो ले सकते हैं। या तो सेकंड जो मैंने बताया, कस्टमर सेगमेंटेशन। आपके पास बहुत ज्यादा कस्टमर है, आपको शायद मे बी उनको डिवाइड करना है होमोजीनियस ग्रुप में। होमोजीनियस ग्रुप मतलब सिमिलर ग्रुप्स में। तो आप कैसे करेंगे? आपको सोल्यूशन नहीं चाहिए, आपको ये रिक्वायरमेंट कैसे होगा, क्या क्या चीजें हमें ध्यान देनी चाहिए, वो लिखना है।
Kanchan, one question. Just wanted to ask you. I mean, since this is the one and only class for requirement analysis, so are we going to have any live projects or any kind of live anything to do live regarding pertaining to requirement analysis?
I think as you move ahead with different case studies, you might start with what is the requirement, how are we developing. So that would eventually be covered. Yeah.
Okay. And accordingly, ma'am, just wanted to, this is out of curiosity, I just want to ask you, I mean, whenever we will be going for interviews, would they give would a certain company give us a situation and they would ask what would be a requirement analysis, how to do the requirement analysis?
No. I think that's for the higher roles, and they would be expected to know for sure. Yeah, so that shouldn't be part of interview.
Okay, sure, ma'am.
Yeah. So
Thanks.
this is kind of a topic where we wanted to introduce, just because it shouldn't be that you're just narrowing your like domain expertise or your responsibilities only to your work. Yeah, you should also know how the entire project or maybe how the entire requirement or how different peoples are working together. Yeah.
लास्ट वन मैम, हेलो।
Yes.
जो भी असाइनमेंट वो कब तक मतलब सबमिट करनी पड़ेगी?
वो आपको टीम बताएगी।
ओके।
और ये वाला
मैं तो
फर्स्ट है जो आप ये गणेश, ये जो फर्स्ट है, ये आप अपने सेल्फ चेक के लिए ही लिख सकते हैं कि क्या क्या करना है, नॉट
एक्चुअली
समथिंग
मैं
टू
तो
पुट ऑन द पेपर।
एक्चुअली आई एम अ फ्रेशर, सो आई डोंट नो एग्जैक्टली हाउ कैन
So
बी।
Ganesh, I think when you start with tools, there would be different set of assignments. This is just for your understanding कि आपको सारे steps समझ रहे हैं या नहीं।
ओके।
ठीक है? Yeah.
मैम एक डाउट था मुझे, जैसे वो
हाँ
जितने भी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है ये सब के क्लाइंट को भी शेयर होते हैं?
नहीं,
क्लाइंट्स
अ,
को शेयर नहीं होते?
ये इंटरनल क्लाइंट्स को रिक्वायरमेंट डॉक्यूमेंट फर्स्ट शेयर होगा, जहां पर आप चेक करोगे कि ये सारा रिक्वायरमेंट जो मुझे समझा है ये आप बोल रहे हैं नहीं, फर्स्ट वन। सेकेंड वाला जब आप यूएटी के लिए चेक करोगे कि दीज ऑल आर लाइक एक साइड ऑफ डॉक्यूमेंट आएगा वहां से, तो 2 और 3 विद द क्लाइंट, नॉट एवरीथिंग।
ओके
बट अगर कोड और ये आप उनके प्लेटफॉर्म में कर रहे हो, कोड और ये तो उनके पास होगा ही। ऐसे नहीं कि कोड हमारे पास रखेंगे और उनको देंगे डेवलप करके, नहीं, आपको पूरे कोड वगैरह भी देने पड़ते हैं।
अच्छा, तो वो सब
बट जो आप
शेयर उनको
इंटरनल,
गिटहब में शेयर होते हैं सब उनको?
हाँ गिटहब में या उनके पर्सनल प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे।
अच्छा अच्छा।
हाँ
Madam, what are the various designations of data analyst, madam?
Mohammed, I think there would be another team member who would be connecting you for this. Yeah, maybe I'm not the right person for this.
Okay, madam.
Yeah. Any other query? Anyone? I would
No,
request you all to give a feedback if this session was beneficial. The link is already in the chat window. It would help me to at least understand. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for your time. I had a very good time with you. Thank you for sharing your views as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you, ma'am.
everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
For theoretical session.